Happy St. Patrick's Day to the both of you.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Woohoo.
Always cheery. Got a quick thing to talk about before we start the show here. I don't know if we hinted at this last episode at all, but
Maybe
at the end when it got a little out of hand.
Yeah.
We are planning on doing something since South by Southwest was just recently here. We are planning on doing our own little South by Southwest, but for geographical reasons, we've renamed ourselves to North by Northeast. And we will be spending a weekend, Friday night through Sunday, whenever we're done. And we'll be working on our website. We're planning on getting it done.
We're
by
gonna
Sunday.
We're gonna try. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
We're gonna try.
Let's hope that we do.
It's getting done.
But today we also just came up with a great idea.
Quick insert there. If it makes you feel any better, I have done Tumblr designs all in a span of like 2 days.
Right.
Like I've crunched them out in that time before, so I think we might.
Yeah,
be able
I
to
think
do it.
and we'll have like 2, maybe 3 people working on it. I don't know how
Useful I will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that, but sure.
Okay.
But earlier, like 5 minutes ago, we came up with a great idea because today is actually Selection Sunday for the NCAA tournament 2013. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to have a little March Madness of our own. It's the TechBuzzed Sweet 16. We're each going to bring 6 beers. So that'll be 18 in total. 2 of them will... No, actually, 3 of them will.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 of them we'll each have 5 that are our for sure beers, and then we'll have each 1 extra. That's our wild card pick. Mm-hmm. We'll pit the 3 up against each other probably Friday night, and then Saturday night we'll do the actual tournament. And we're going to get our wild card picks. We'll have 16 beers, and we're gonna seed them all, and then have a little bracket of our own.
It's gonna be awesome.
So everything will actually be on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TechBuzzPodcast. We'll be live streaming pretty much the whole event.
Yep.
And keep up with our Twitter and our Facebook to see how things are going. Yep. But we'll be doing that. So get ready for the show. Hello, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day again.
And welcome to TechBuzzed. Welcome to TechBuzzed. It's your raw and slightly inebriated look into the world of technology. I'm Nick Smock.
I'm Ryan Spletzer.
I'm Lucas Ritter.
We had a big event happen on Thursday of this week.
Yes.
On the 14th of March, to be exact. And that was Samsung's Unpacked 2013, where they announced the Samsung Galaxy S4, and in my opinion, it's pretty unimpressive. But we're going to get into that. So
Yeah.
our first kind of, I don't know, Lucas, did you watch it? I know Ryan did, and I did.
I didn't.
I watched it.
Yeah.
Facto on YouTube.
As did I, yeah. Ryan and I watched the keynote, and it was atrocious. Mm-hmm. And like I said to Ryan...
Did it beat Qualcomm?
Didn't quite top that.
No, but it's a Samsung keynote. Like, I expected nothing different. There was a kid like tap dancing for like an hour.
It was crazy.
Weird.
Yeah.
Things got weird.
They also invited in, because it was at Radio City Music Hall, they invited in just like the general public. Whoever wanted to buy a ticket could just go in and watch this show. So they tried to make it like Broadway-y for like the masses.
Like, I don't know. If I was
weird.
there, I think that'd be cool to go to. Just because.
Oh God, yeah.
Just because it's like, how many opportunities are you gonna see like a live Samsung event and just like watch the absolute ridiculousness while it's happening?
That's true. Yeah, watch it live. Come watch the train wreck live in person.
I was just a mess. Was it? I was trying to figure that out, and I think I'm not 100% sure on it, but was that the same kid that they used in the commercials? That little Jeffrey or Jeremy or whatever his name was?
It could have been. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wasn't quite sure because that commercial was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like where the little girl was like trying to break into his house to see what's inside the box.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the
That
same
was-
kid, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, he was tap dancing, which is just
he was a tap
weird.
dancer. He was a
Just-
Welcome to Samsung.
Broadway
That's-
You know what though? It's like just the mobile world. They don't know what to do with their keynotes, and so or like how about when was that? Microsoft, when it must have been the Windows 8 announcement.
Windows Phone 8.
Yeah. When they had the people, the choir, like the Baptist choir, like singing tweets.
That was ridiculous.
It was so stupid. Like
Yeah.
people just need to give it up already and just
Yeah.
announce the phone. Apple does it perfectly.
They do it. They don't do it as well as when Steve was around,
Yeah.
but like
They still do it.
they
the
still
best,
do it
yeah.
better than anybody else.
Because they cut the shit.
Yeah, they do.
Is what it is.
Yeah. I just wish like phone companies would just not go so crazy with this stuff. Like, understand what you're trying to convey. Like, I mean, because they conveyed everything that they were trying to last night in this keynote.
Not last night.
Or
Couple
I'm
nights
sorry,
ago.
a couple nights ago. It feels like last night because I just can't get the nightmare out of my brain of what I saw.
He's just tap dancing in
Like,
my
'cause
mind.
I see it every night in my dreams now, and I'm just horrified. But yeah, they need to just like get their message across, show how this product is going to help people's lives, and cut the BS.
Yeah,
you know,
I
It's
don't
just-
want to. I don't want to dwell on their keynote for a really long time, but I kind of want to look back at the Galaxy S3 keynote where they just showed like a half hour's worth of video of their like designers in the rainforest.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what is this? I didn't realize that I was watching a keynote for a phone.
Was that like the nature UX
Yes,
stuff?
when they were talking,
Oh,
and they
man.
were like sent their designers to the Amazon, and I'm just like, this has nothing to do with the phone you're releasing at all.
No.
And the worst thing about it is they added a bunch of like nature sounds to the phone, and like the minute I bought my Note 2, I like just all system sounds off.
Yeah.
Because like when you unlock your phone, it's got that like ripple effect, and it makes like you're like running your hand through like a
Yeah.
docile lake or something like that. And it's
my
just like, it's so
God.
ridiculous.
That's like, man, that takes like
They-
skeuomorphism to another
yeah,
level.
exactly.
It's annoying too
it's
because
stupid.
on older phones, like even on the S3 I got, like I feel like it has to do with something to performance.
Oh,
Just like,
yeah.
oh,
I'm
I'm
sure.
gonna animate these freaking waves, even though I
It
played with it
absolutely
for a
does.
while.
I don't
So
mind. I don't mind the animation, but it's just the sounds.
Oh yeah,
Like it just doesn't
I've
make
never
sense
noticed
Yeah.
the
because
sounds.
it's my cell phone. I don't need it to sound like I'm
Yeah.
pushing my hand through water.
Exactly. You just need that to be a phone. And
That's it. Make it a little
Make-
click sound.
Make phone sounds that
Yeah.
make sense. You know.
This isn't a living being. It's a manufactured mini
Plastic
computer.
phone.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Plastic.
So yeah, that I could only make it through a certain amount of that keynote. I think I had to turn it off with like 15 or 20 minutes left. At the end, literally, it just turned into a show, and it was like, okay, I'm just watching people sing and dance now. This is stupid.
This really sounds like Samsung. So
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it definitely is. But we're not going to dwell again on the keynote
Yeah.
forever. So let's talk about the phone itself. I wanted to point out quickly that if people were keeping tabs, I was pretty much wrong on my like off the wall predictions about the phone.
Well, you said it would look.
Well,
Who said it would look almost the same?
I think
Well, I
we
think
kind of
we
all
all
agreed
agreed,
on
We
it.
kind of
yeah.
all
But like,
agreed.
no,
that
I'm
it
saying
did.
like my off the wall
would.
predictions that they would put the S Pen, bundle the S Pen with it.
They didn't
And
do that.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, so-
I didn't even catch that part.
I honestly, I think the S3 looks better than the S4.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like the radius of the curves on the phone.
Like the bevels.
Like the radius of the corners.
Is it
why
too
didn't they
sharp or is it
sharpen
too?
it up? Quite
Yeah.
a bit?
They
Yeah.
sharpened it.
Well, it's because
Because
they
they're
wanted
making
the
an
same
iPhone.
size phone with a bigger screen.
They're
though.
making an iPhone.
So they made
Yeah.
An iPhone.
yeah. By the way, yeah, it looked more like an iPhone than before.
Yeah.
Like it feels like.
Except for it's 5 beeping inches big.
Yeah, that's true.
Ding. Mario coin sound.
I'm just surprised they would sharpen. They would make it bigger yet sharpen the corners.
Well, because that way you can fit more screen in there.
Because that's the thing
True.
is
You're squaring it
eliminating-
off.
You
Yeah.
can fit screen up into this corner farther.
Yeah.
I almost feel like that looks better though. I'm looking at Lucas's S3 right now, and I think that looks better.
Yeah, if you ignore it being a brick right now, yeah.
Yeah, it's just more. It's more natural. It feels like mine, like my Galaxy Nexus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what a good phone. I don't like it when phones just like all are like, okay, exactly what you're gonna get. It's gonna be this like 4-sided thing with no like.
Yeah.
This one
Right.
actually has rounded
Right.
like tops and bottoms too, which is kind of cool.
So
They're not completely flat like an iPhone, and nobody's. Yeah, I don't know. It makes me sick to just see blatant copying still.
And that's
Really.
that's the biggest thing is they're just pushing to be Apple,
right.
and it's really depressing.
All right.
Well,
Whereas before with the whole lawsuit, it was all about the OS trying to look exactly the same
Yeah.
as an iPhone. Now I feel like they're trying so hard on the hardware
Yeah.
side to just be like,
I don't know.
You could walk into a store and look those side by side and be like, oh, look at this guy. It's 5 inches and huge and nice display. And
My only
whatever.
thing though is like you look at a Samsung phone though, and it's. I don't know. I feel like I know it's a Galaxy.
well, I
phone.
mean,
like
that was like the issue during the lawsuits is like people won't know the difference between a Galaxy S3 and an iPhone. Shut up.
Yeah,
That's stupid.
that was dumb.
I still think,
honestly, you're just saying that like the general public is a bunch of blind morons if they
Yeah,
can't tell the
well.
difference between a Galaxy S3. But like, if you can't tell the difference between a Galaxy S3 and an iPhone, you shouldn't be looking for a phone. You should be looking for medical help.
That's true.
or an
the big
optometrist.
thing was the like the Galaxy S and the S2 were a lot like the 3S and 3GS and whatever.
But it says Samsung on the top
Yeah, I
of the
know.
phone.
People are
disagreed
really
with it,
stupid.
but-
People, I mean, I'm not
and
trying
there's
to
a
make excuses
big
for that.
Apple logo
But
on the back of the iPhone.
The thing is that court case, that whole outcome of that court case was basically like, okay, yeah, we see grounds for this and that, whatever. But then
Yeah.
the ensuing stuff after that was like, yeah, the damages that actually happened because of that were like so much
Yeah.
less than anyone
Didn't they like
was
trim it
asking
by
for.
600-700 million?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It was so much less than what
it was
Apple was
yeah, it
asking
was
for.
pennies. It was
ridiculous.
pennies on the dollar for Samsung.
Yeah. Samsung loses that in its couch like every night when it sits down.
This just reminds me that I found $8 and change in my couch the other day.
I found $10 in my
Made
jacket
my
pocket
day.
last week.
Yeah,
I think it was at
nice.
your house. No, I was at Bobby's house. Who cares? Let's talk about specs quick. So,
Oh, before we go to that,
Sure.
can I just say real quick?
Sure.
It feels like Samsung is basically forked Android at this point. It
Yeah.
feels
Yes.
like it's almost
Oh.
like there,
it's, yeah.
And at this point, I say that because they're going to start asking developers at this point, hey, we have S Voice, we have this and that. Start building your stuff
Yeah.
for this,
But
please.
they're the
Well,
biggest maker.
exactly.
Like no one's competing with them.
They're like HTC is the only company who's actually giving them any sort of like run for their money.
HTC's
But at the same
getting-
time, their HTC
No
is
one's
just,
buying their
they're
phones.
just well, that's the problem is they're fooling around with carriers left and right.
They have to
and
though.
and it's really they're
Yeah.
just digging themselves a hole. While Samsung is just like put it on every carrier. Here's a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
fun with it. I don't
Yeah.
care what you do with it.
Right.
Just put it on every carrier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
And,
problem is HTC doesn't have that money though.
And like Verizon sitting there just shelling out just tons of cash so that they can get these carrier specific devices.
Yeah.
And they're junk. And then AT&T and T-Mobile and Sprint are getting, or AT&T and T-Mobile basically are getting like all the great HTC devices, but
The only issue
everyone's
is
switching
just
to Verizon for
everyone's-
coverage.
Right.
Well, there's that, and also like Samsung just has the most advertising money,
Well, right,
which is something
right.
that Ryan I think was going to talk about.
Yeah,
here.
we're going to talk about that
Yeah,
a
we're
little
gonna
later.
talk about it a little bit later, but it's just when you think of an Android phone now, most people think of a Galaxy. Like,
Right. Oh, no,
I'm
yeah.
I'm hearing more instead of like
Actually-
it used to all be, oh, I got a Droid. Now I'm hearing, oh, I got a Galaxy.
Actually, that's a you bring up a great point
Yeah.
because today I was at an event and there was a few of my extended family was present,
Yeah.
and a lot of my uncles and aunts. My mom is like the second youngest in her family, and she has 7 or 8 brothers and sisters, so it's a big family.
Yeah.
But so she's got 5 or 6 siblings that are older than her, and so the second oldest sibling of hers, his wife, we were at the event and I took my phone out because I got a text, and without even like skipping a beat, she's like, I literally had just pulled it out of my pocket, and she goes, "Oh, is that the new Galaxy?"
Yeah.
Like it's becoming a household
and it's
name.
a thing. And I'm glad it's not like the Droid brand, because the Droid brand was synonymous for everything Android before.
Yeah.
The Galaxy, like, people associate that white, phone
Exactly.
look with Galaxy phone.
Because no one else releases white Android phones.
Right.
It's all black or gray slates.
What sucks though is I show them any other Android phone, even my Galaxy Nexus, like that's black and stuff, and they'll be like, "Oh, is that a Droid?" They'll still say, "Is that a Droid?" And I'm just like, "Shut your mouth."
It's like weird
It's
color
changing
confusion.
now.
Yeah, it's just like weird color confusion.
I'm kind of afraid though that eventually we are going to get to a point though where Samsung kind of dominates the Android market, and
I think we're almost there.
We are almost there, because their skins are just they completely change Android. So like they look at a Galaxy Nexus or whatever, and it's weird. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't really like that. I don't like that.
When we get to our next topic, I'm going to talk a bit about how.
Are we going to talk about
Android
Tizen?
got away from Google a little bit, But anyways.
Anyway,
what was I gonna say? I just forgot. Forget it. We're gonna talk about specs, hardware, things like that. So, location. This is kind of based on your location, your carrier, what CPU you're gonna have in there. So it'll be either be an Exynos 5 or a Qualcomm.
yeah.
And they actually haven't released what the model number of the Qualcomm chip is.
I'm assuming it's a 600.
But yeah, Qualcomm assures. Well, I'm reading this on The Verge, but they assured that it'll be more powerful than the S4 600.
Really?
That's what they said. They said they guarantee it.
That's strange, because then that completely makes the one like
Junk. It's it's like obsolete. Yeah, but that is exactly what they told. I don't know who. Probably David Pierce wrote this article, but that's what they told him. Because originally,
I'm curious how that's going to come out, because
originally everyone thought it was going to be the S4 600 by Snapdragon, but Qualcomm, I guess, is making the other processor.
So basically HTC got screwed because Samsung threw a bunch of money at Qualcomm.
Yeah, exactly. 2 gigs of RAM, no surprise there. 2600 milliamp hour battery, which I am actually surprised at.
That's a decent amount.
I thought they were going to make it a bit bigger.
Bigger?
Well, this has a 3100 milliamp hour battery.
Sure. Well,
I think mine was originally 22 or 24.
Yeah, I would have thought like 28 to 30, 3.
You think about the size of the battery, like you're going from a Galaxy Note 2, which is 5.5 inches, to 5 inches for the new S4.
But he had a 22.
I've got it in my book.
In a what size?
Or a
phone?
24 in a 4.7 inch.
4.7. So you would expect it to be more.
I would
which it
expect,
is. It's 26. It's
I
more,
was expecting like 28 or 3.
You were thinking even a little more than that. And
because I mean they're only gonna make it.
Yeah.
They're only gonna make these batteries smaller. 2100. So
2100.
I guess I can understand that then.
That's
a big jump then.
And of course, I'm sure you'll be able to go and buy another.
Yeah, but
battery.
look at Lucas's extended battery. It makes his phone 3 times the size.
No, I mean, I've seen extended batteries out there. I've bought extended batteries for past phones that are literally the same size. They just have more milliamps in it somehow.
Yeah.
Slightly more,
Yeah.
Storage capacity, you're looking at 16, 32, or 64. That's, again, industry standard.
That's actually interesting, because I know with the one, once again, this is like my main comparison, because
That's the only thing you can compare it to right now.
It's that one, they're not offering the 16 gig. It's 32 and 64.
Which,
because
they don't
S4 have
SD cards. That's what I was going to get into. Yeah. This is the one thing I love about Samsung right now, is that they're releasing brand new phones and they're keeping that expandable memory in it. Yeah. It doesn't use up that much space to slap, the hardware to put an SD card slot in there. Yeah. What it is it's these carriers dropping this money on these phone manufacturers to say, don't put an SD card slot in it, because they've all stopped using unlimited data plans. So you can't get away with streaming Spotify for a full day.
Right.
Because that's what I used to do on my unlimited data plan. I would run Spotify all day while I was at work, wherever.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily all the carriers though, because you can make with the 1 series and with Apple, they're making seamless phones that don't have any breaks or any like openings. Which is it is nice.
You can still put one on the side of the phone. You don't need to put it in the.
But then how are you going to cover it up? Then it's like you look at the side of your phone, you've got this little hole.
Whatever. That's
it's a design
seems frivolous.
idea,
that
though.
seems frivolous.
Yeah,
because
but
it
looks
phone,
better.
This phone is beautiful though, and the S4 is beautiful.
But that's the thing is, it has removable back cover, and this is my actually ranting that I'm going to have about Samsung. The plastic.
See, okay, I agree with you there. The plastic's a little ridiculous, but like it's almost unnoticeable that this back cover is removable because they've got it to the point where they use that curve to their advantage and get that back plate so it looks seamless.
Yeah.
Instead of having it like directly on the side.
I actually like the concept of having the integrated back cover. It's
just,
I do too.
I like having a back
slide
cover.
It in, or the front cover. Sorry, like as you slide it in your pocket, like that's less chances of stuff getting scratched.
We'll get into that in a minute as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about screen tech for a second.
Yep.
So it is pentile.
Which, when you
at
get
this high of a resolution,
yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's pentile, but
pentile's a problem when it's smaller resolution.
You
could really
you can notice the missing subpixel.
Well,
my Droid 3 was terrible with that.
because it handles colors really strangely.
Is the Note 2 pentile?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. And that looks gorgeous to me.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you can take a look at the screen and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Samsung screen tech is always pentile,
but it's because they're using OLED where like
they're using AMOLED
or AMOLED, which it's a little bit different. But
AMOLED is nice.
But the only thing is like with AMOLED they almost have to go with pentile because there's some hardware issues because I know that is why HTC has stayed with LCDs. They're on like their Super LCD 4 or whatever, but they do make the best screen right now.
Oh yeah. Well, wait, what company did you say?
HTC.
Yeah, LG used to have that market.
Yeah, but
HTC really...
Well, don't they make a ton of screens still?
Yeah.
They make a ton of screens for almost everybody.
But actually the One X had an LG screen in it.
Really? I guess I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, the One X had an LG screen in it.
Oh, okay.
So I guess the last thing in terms of hardware to talk about is the camera, which I
have not really heard.
Haven't heard. There has not been any talk about the camera besides it's a 13 megapixel rear shooter, and I think they have. I guess their front-facing camera is supposed to be really good. But the biggest advancement is actually the camera software. They integrated a lot of stuff from the Galaxy camera into the S4's camera, which I guess is cool.
Yeah.
Because the Galaxy camera seems a little ridiculous to purchase.
Yeah, very.
But I mean, it's got a lot of really cool like shooting modes. So,
yeah, right.
But it's a 13 megapixel camera. I think like if Samsung really wants to compete with Apple, they just need to get a better sensor.
Oh yeah, they definitely need a better sensor. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, no.
But they're like in your phone, they're actually using the same sensors what Apple used in the iPhone 4S, I believe.
But the hardware in the iPhones they utilize the sensor better.
Well, yeah, because that's because they just did. Yeah, Apple doesn't have to make as many different, all the different
things
phones
like that. But other than that, I do have one thing to praise about this phone, and it's the fact that they got rid of that ugly ass blue and they switched it with black. You remember?
Yeah, I do. I almost bought the blue one.
It was like they called it titanium gray.
Yeah.
But it was like a steel blue.
The version in blue? Yeah.
The color of the phone. It was like a steel blue.
That never looked
ugly.
good. Yeah.
I thought it was awful. But they have a black one now instead of in place of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can to all of our listeners, you can really note our excitement about this phone.
I am so
I'm
unimpressed.
kind of
with it.
very muted excitement about this.
I think it's going to sell like crazy, and I think it's going to do great for Samsung. It's going to expand their
sell
section
like
of the market
hotcakes.
because
Yeah.
their marketing is going to be ridiculous. And it's right now they've already got, like you say, they've got penetration already in the market.
Right,
so
right.
it's kind of
At this point, they're kind of like Apple. Like
They
Apple
are.
will put out the iPhone 5, and it looks almost exactly the same as the old one.
Yeah.
And it's running the same old stuff that you're used
As
to.
everyone's
But-
calling it the GS3S, basically. Yeah.
But the thing is
It's gonna sell
for
like hotcakes.
a lot of the market, that's what you almost want because people buy what they're used to.
Right.
It's true.
Well, now see, but I
It's
look at this.
depressing, but true.
I look at this phone. If I had a Galaxy S3 and my upgrade was coming up, I wouldn't get the Galaxy S4. There's almost no reason to, because
Yeah, there
number
isn't,
one, your
but-
phone is fast enough.
Yeah.
Like the Galaxy
Right.
S3 is fast enough. You're just getting a little bit better screen, a little bit faster processor, but you don't really need that.
Right.
You might as well just sit on your upgrade
Yeah.
and wait a while. So this almost isn't an
But
upgrade
at the same
phone.
time,
This
most
is
people
like
aren't gonna. Well, in the U.S. at least, most people are on 2-year upgrade cycles. So
I sat on my upgrade for like 6 months.
yeah, well, yeah.
To be honest, like when I was watching this phone announcement, I was kind of thinking, oh, maybe I'll get one or whatever, because I was kind of contemplating it.
Yeah.
Because I could run it with work email and stuff, because they are now supporting that at my work. But I just kept looking at it. I'm like, you know what? All this just different, S voice and all this crap.
Yeah,
Like
they're
I'm
proprietary
pretty
softwares
like, and then I look at my phone I have now. I'm like super happy with my phone, like really happy to the point where I could use this for another year. There's
Yeah.
nothing like that's compelling me to get a new thing right now.
I'm the
It-
same way with mine.
It used to be that Android would make such these huge leaps when they would announce a new version. There's all this new stuff, and I'm sure in Key Lime Pie there's going to be a lot of new stuff.
And the thing
that
with
I'll
your
want,
phone
but
is you're set on
You're set on the
software
OS
upgrades.
anyway.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Operating
Except
system
for Verizon as being a total
It takes forever to
eccentric,
get that
crazy
upgrade because of
person.
Verizon.
Yeah, like literally, there's some status board somewhere that says Galaxy Nexus update coming this month, and it said that for like a month now. So it's like, when is it getting here? So or the 4.2 specifically.
Okay.
So
I had an HTC Thunderbolt. They were supposed to get ICS in December. 2 weeks ago,
Right.
they released ICS for the Thunderbolt.
I don't.
It was leaked. It was leaked in November,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
didn't OTA. They didn't push it over the air until 2 weeks ago.
Because Verizon, whatever you're doing, your testing department sucks. Like, you need to get that train moving faster. Like, nobody wants to deal with that. Why is it that AT&T can pretty much like when an update hits the open source area, for Android online for a phone, they can get it out pretty much within that
Yeah.
week. Why are they so quick at it and you guys suck so bad?
Right.
Because really, you do. It's
I think
shame,
it's 'cause
shame,
they
feel
really
like
don't
shame
care.
on you.
I feel like every episode we just rant about Verizon, how
Yeah.
terrible they are.
It's because we all
can
use Verizon.
and we could never leave Verizon though.
Actually,
because
this,
their coverage is just
It's really unbelievable.
that's why they're dicks.
They do data stuff like caps and all that is terrible with them. Their practices and policies on upgrading is terrible.
Oh,
and,
it's
and
the
putting new
worst.
OSs out is just terrible. But yeah, their coverage is amazing. Like that's the one
Yeah.
thing they do right.
Mhm.
Anyways,
Were you saying
Anyway.
something, Lucas?
I don't really think so.
Okay. I'd like to talk about software quick.
Okay.
Because I don't know. After using my Note for a little while here, like a lot of their proprietary, like in-house software stuff seems really gimmicky, and this is no exception. Like AirView and Air Gestures. Air Gestures is so stupid because okay, so for those of you who don't know, the concept of Air Gestures is, say you are reading a web page and
Yeah, I don't. Why wouldn't
and
you just touch the
you have to
screen?
scroll. You can scroll by like waving your hand over the little sensor by your front facing
IR
camera, and it'll scroll for you.
that's
And I can honestly think of like one practical application for this, and that's if your hands are like wet or dirty.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
how many times are you on your phone?
But there are certain nice things that they do. Doo-doo, yeah. No, but like, have you ever used a thing where you're in your lock screen, you touch it, and then you spin it to the side?
Yeah, and you get the
it
camera.
brings up your camera.
Yeah, they have really cool, like, that's the thing, is
They've
they have
got
really cool, like, little
things,
features that
I think
I
they
really
just,
like, but they just have some really stupid
the only reason
stuff.
they add them, though, is because it kind of grabs your eye. Like,
Right.
if you get a brand new phone and you start dinking around with it, and all of a sudden you're like waving at your phone, it's cool.
Actually,
it's like, oh, sweet. You do it for like the first 2
I
days, and you
think-
realize this is a pain.
I think the
I don't
absolute coolest feature of current Samsung phones right now, and I don't know if you've ever used this or set this up, but say I am in a text message, I'm like messaging someone on, and they send me a message and like I want to call them, instead of like
Yeah.
hitting any
You just
buttons
pick
or
it up.
anything, you
I
just
do
put
use
your
it.
phone up to your ear and it'll call them.
Really?
Like if
It's
you're in text with
insane.
them.
I'll have to,
that's
when we
the
have
kinda-
when we have a break, I'll show you it. It's crazy.
That's kind of the smart little things that make a huge difference. Like that's kind of cool.
That's what I like about Samsung, 'cause
That's
they're like-
something that they do. Like 95% of their new, like their stuff, their Samsung special stuff, is crap. But then there's like 5% of that where there's these little nuggets where you're like, this should be built right into Android. You know?
Yeah. Now they put in a pedometer and a barometer
They have some
and a
ridiculous-
thermometer in this phone, which
Wow.
for S Health, this new app, because they're pairing a bunch of accessories.
I'm
which
sorry. Wait.
we will get in later.
Why do you need a thermometer if you have access to weather services on your phone?
Because
Weather services aren't always perfect.
No.
that and like say you go out for a run and you throw your phone in airplane mode,
Yeah.
you can use the
That's-
in-phone thermometer. But they could have also taken that out and made a bigger battery.
Exactly. Like
Oh, you want to grab me one?
things like
I
that
want
make me
a
wonder.
green one.
Yeah, I can grab me another stuff too.
And
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, it's really weird. Like this S Health thing, it keeps track of what you eat and your sleeping habits and your running and all that junk. And
To be honest,
there's like accessories.
When you sleep.
Yeah, pretty much. They're like out to kill you.
well, I mean, hey, at least that's an area where Google is not treading anymore. They used to have Google Health. Where
Yeah,
you could do
I'm actually
stuff,
kind of happy
but
about
they
that.
got rid of that. You know, so I don't mind
Thank you.
when I should find an opener, but I don't mind when companies or manufacturers try to extend Android into areas it previously didn't do things.
like,
Yeah. Like health is a good example. Android doesn't have any of that built into it.
No, it doesn't.
I can imagine at some point maybe it will, but that's kind of what drives it forward. And to me, that's what open source is about. It's not about like screwing with what's there already.
Right.
What works
It's about
well.
innovating.
It's about taking what's there already and making it better for people.
Exactly.
Like, and that kind of stuff I have no problem with. But the problem I have is when people think, oh, there's these really smart people at Google that designed all this stuff, but we think we can do it better.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break.
Yeah. And on top of that, you have at that point you're looking at like a third-party software.
Right,
while
yeah.
like maybe Google's innovating this thing, they're gonna make it and they're gonna put it right into the operating system, and no matter what, it's going to run smoothly because it's in the operating
right in,
system.
yeah.
It's a system. They're system files at that point.
Right. The worst level of customization is, and manufacturers have done this before, where they actually mess around at the kernel level.
Yes.
And they get real deep in there and screw stuff up.
The Thunderbolt, actually, that's what they did with that.
Yeah.
And
That's why it
that's why
took
the
so
battery
long.
life. That's why the battery life was so awful too.
Yeah.
Was because like there was something along the lines of the way the 4G radio worked and how they had like set up the kernel on the phone, and so the kernel, like if the phone was like on screen, the screen was off. If it was in like the hibernate mode or whatever, the kernel would still be working at like full capacity,
Oh,
and so
man.
your battery would just drain. Because your 4G radio was like on.
Yeah.
I feel like The Incredibles just rushed out those, probably partially why. And
The Thunderbolt.
Yeah, Thunderbolt.
Well,
Sorry,
the
yeah.
reason it was rushed out so
Thunderbolt.
quickly was because they wanted to have the first
yeah,
LTE
no,
phone
it's
on
I
the
understand
market.
why,
Yeah.
but it's they had to mess around the kernel because it was the first like
Yeah.
LTE phone. It's Google hadn't really. I don't think they had optimized for the way that the
No,
chipset was
no.
working, because it was basically, oh hey, here's a processor from right now. and here's this brand spanking new LTE chip that we have to like throw in
Right.
next to it because we don't have it integrated yet. It was a mess, but
Yeah.
Anyway,
Actually, I think the coolest little hardware / software feature of this phone, which I'm about to talk about here, is the IR blaster that they threw in it. Because
Yeah, that's
I have
really
an
nice.
issue. My room isn't very big, and so when I'm watching TV, I'm laying in my bed, and I always lose my remote.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I always do. This thing has like the coolest watch on, I think is what it's called,
Oh, I just had a brilliant idea.
where you can control your TV.
That's kind of
via
amazing.
your phone, and so you can see what's coming up in weeks ahead instead of like going to the TV guide or whatever.
Yes.
I mean, whatever.
Oh my God.
Guys,
That is amazing.
And so so you can see what's on, and you can flip through, and it'll take you right to the channel. You just click a little button, and it'll take you right to the
That's
channel.
the perfect instance of like innovation, creativity, like adding on.
Now, what
you know,
I want to
that's
know,
awesome.
because they haven't really talked about it, is if there's like DVR support or anything
right.
for it.
Also, you know what that means? Also, goodbye universal remote.
Exactly, because you just have a phone.
Which I always have a hate relationship with universal remotes. I would go
Yeah,
to people's
but,
houses and they'd have all this stuff just specially set up, and so they
Yeah.
could just click a button to switch over to something. I'm like,
And then like when one thing goes wrong, it takes you like 15 steps
Yeah.
to like fix it.
fix it out
Yeah.
or figure out what's going on. Oh man.
Okay, guys, I've got something big here. Okay, Google, I hope you're listening right now. Why don't you have a Google Voice number for every one of your TVs? And then you put a mic and a speaker in the remote, so then like you lose your remote, you can call it.
That's
And
ridiculous.
also like someone can call you and you're just at your TV, like, oh hey, what's up? And you just got like this handheld phone now on your TV remote.
That would be
Oh
ridiculous.
my-
That
Well-
actually is kind of genius. and
yeah,
awesome.
but
Like,
that's what
maybe-
Samsung is doing.
maybe-
They're making a phone.
No, yes, but
that's
like,
a remote.
You realize Google was working with all these manufacturers on TVs, like even if like let's say
Yeah,
it
that
didn't
worked.
even have phone functionality. Let's just say to where it like has a thing where you can hit a button on your computer and your remote starts beeping.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
That-
a good feature.
Like that would be a brilliant feature
yeah,
because
you
it
can
would
never
just
find your remote.
you would be able to find your remote because
yeah.
that's why I can always find my phone is I can call it, and even if it's on vibrate, you turn everything off, you can hear it.
Yeah.
But like with a remote, you
Yeah.
just can't get it.
Right.
So, do we have anything else to talk about hardware, software wise?
Nothing
No?
else there.
Okay.
Just that I kind of cringe at all the stuff that they're trying to just replace with stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Like S voice was probably the most like
I used that for the first time yesterday.
Oh
yeah.
no.
That
It
was
was
probably
awful.
the most like offensive thing to me.
It was
It's like
Awful.
Google has gotten voice recognition down so well at this point.
Well, they're using Dragon,
Yeah.
and Dragon is the top voice recognition software
Right.
on the market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it just offends me when people think they can actually do that any better than
So we're gonna quick
Yeah,
talk about
whatever.
accessories. There's like 3 main accessories that we kind of want to talk about here, and there's 2 really great ones and 1 really awful one. Actually, we'll talk about 4. So the first one is it's the S Band, and it connects to that S Health app we were talking about earlier, and it just throws statistics to S Health. In terms of running and eating and things like that. It's nothing too special. It's just a little armband, but we're going to get into the more serious accessories. The first one Ryan was talking about earlier, and it's this little flip cover that they actually made for the Galaxy S3 and then the Galaxy Note 2. And essentially what it is you buy this cover, and it's actually a replacement backplate for your
Yeah.
phone, and then the cover is actually attached inside the backplate. They take another piece of plastic and then connect the backplate over top, so it's like
That's cool.
hinged inside my backplate, and it covers the entire screen. It's just a really lightweight. I'm guessing this is just like some sort of cardboard or plastic compound that it's made out of, but it's got a nice smooth fabric inside, and then it's kind of a rugged. You can hear it.
plastic, yeah.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Imagine that a plastic.
But for the Samsung Galaxy S4, they actually put a little viewing window, which I actually really like, because not only does it allow you to see if you have any notifications or like the time, the date, maybe weather information, without actually flipping the little flip case over. But when you want to take a photo, you can actually put it all the way to the back, and it doesn't cover up the camera because the current gen flip cases cover up the camera.
Yeah.
So when I'm taking a photo, I have this like ridiculous little flange that's
just
like
flapping out in the wind,
flapping around, and it's a little annoying. But I think it's really innovative, and it's a great case. I think I got it on Amazon for like $25.
Okay.
But the second thing, which I really like, and I like that manufacturers are getting into this, is the wireless charger for the Galaxy S4. And the first phone to do this was the Pre, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
To do
The
what?
Touchstone
Oh, yeah,
technology. Yeah.
Yeah. And that came back with the Galaxy Nexus
Correct.
4, or what is that called?
The Nexus 4.
Nexus 4.
Nexus 4,
Yeah.
made by LG.
By LG.
But the thing I really like about this wireless charger, I don't know if you guys are
Ryan
looking
just
at
did
it.
exactly what we were talking
Yes, he
about.
did.
He called it the Galaxy Nexus 4.
Yeah. Shoot. I'm. Oh man, I feel ashamed now.
Kill the heretic. I don't know if you guys are looking at any of these images, but this is really nice because like the Palm Touchstone was a really ridiculous looking thing. It was like a cylinder with a slight slant on it, and it didn't look like your phone would hold up on that. This is more of like it's almost like a plate that's maybe 1.5 inches larger, in terms of like area, I guess.
Yeah.
Would be the way to put it, than the phone. So it's like a little plate that the phone rests in, which is cool. And then the ugly. They made a game controller that actually fits. I don't know if you guys read this, but this thing fits devices from 4.7 inches, so the Galaxy S3, to a very specific 6.3 inch device.
No.
So, guys, there may be a Galaxy Note 3 on the way, and it might be 6.3 inches. Because why?
Oh, man.
Because why else would they make a gamepad for that stops at exactly 6.3 inches?
That's true. That sucks.
But this device looks exactly like an Xbox controller if Nintendo made it for the Wii.
Oh no!
You guys gotta look this up. Doesn't it look like
God,
Nintendo
that
made an
thing's
Xbox controller for the Wii?
Yeah,
it's
it
like
looks
just
really
a brick.
bad.
It's like a brick.
Samsung.
And for people who may be looking for a game controller for their phone, actually, it's not even a controller. It's an accessory for phones. Look at GameClip. It's made by a Redditor who just decided to start a Kickstarter, and it connects to PS3 controllers, and it puts your phone right on top. That way you don't have to use this atrocious piece of junk. But it's awful looking. It's just terrible looking. It'll support 80 games, which makes no sense.
That doesn't make
like
any
shouldn't
sense
it
at
just
all.
report every game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should.
But that's it for the accessories. I think Ryan's going to talk a little bit about their ad campaign,
Sure.
which is
So-
kind of crazy.
So, yeah, in addition to the number of commercials that you've been seeing for various Samsung products, most notably the whatever unicorn game commercial thing they've been
Did
playing.
you know they made that an actual game?
I didn't know that. No.
It got released.
Interesting.
It got released on Friday, actually, the day after the event.
Okay. Wow.
It's awful.
Is it? I am not surprised in the least. So, in addition to those commercials, I'm sure everybody has seen, especially during major sporting events and stuff, because Samsung's just throwing money left and right for these devices right now. They took over the entirety of like Times Square, and filled it with Samsung ads for like at least a couple days. Like everything, everywhere you looked, there, like every billboard, Samsung stuff. It was just crazy. So, yeah, they're really pushing this hard. And the thing with ads is, even if they suck, which Samsung's don't. I must note, Samsung has some very great ads. They've done really well.
Yeah.
Even if they suck,
they can be annoying at times, but they're pretty good.
They get their name out there, and they're doing this, more than any other Android partner you see. You don't see Google throwing any ads out there for their stock devices. You don't see HTC or LG. Oh yeah,
HTC
you don't see them.
But HTC's, I don't know what
you don't
they're
see them.
smoking in their ad department.
Their ad department probably is just like really, really sad because they'll come up with a great concept and they're like, yeah, we want to run this, and they're like, okay, yeah, we don't have any money.
But that's the thing is like for HTC, they almost seem like they're so confident in like their devices build quality and specs that they rely on reviews entirely on reviews,
which is kind of awesome. But at the same time, normal people, regular folks that don't like read tech blogs all day need to hear about these phones somehow.
Right.
And the only way they're going to hear about these phones is through ads. And unfortunately, the dumb people who work at a lot of these carrier stores, yes, you're idiots.
Yeah, they are.
Like they probably only hear about these phones through the ads too. Like
through whatever their company's
and whatever their company's pushing. So, when somebody walks in, they have two ways of knowing what a good phone is. Either they saw it in an ad somewhere, or that person at the carrier store is going to lead them to what phone they should buy.
Exactly.
And you got to bite the bullet somehow. You either have to throw money at the carriers and say, hey, you should let your people on the floor know to show this one off, or you have to throw it at in advertising. I think that's
literally
a better way
throwing
to do
money at it is the only reason I can walk out and actually see a single, I see one Windows phone every once in a while, but it's just because Microsoft threw money at them, and
you know what I gotta say about
doing it to the extreme.
I have to say about all these companies is if they're just throwing all this money around, throw some our way and we'll talk about your phone. We'll say how great it is. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
We'll
Give
go
me some
completely
money.
biased and just be like, I love this.
We'll BGR it. Don't worry. We'll BGR it.
LG View, right? Isn't that the 4x3
If
one?
LG gave you $100, would you promote the LG View?
Yep.
I would use the View every day.
Wow.
I wouldn't use it every day.
Wait. No, I mean, not for $100.
Not for $100.
But if they gave me a lot more money, I would
yeah,
use it every day.
For $100, I would say how good it was.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're not English majors, are we?
Because no one would know the difference.
We can be bought.
That Galaxy View.
So we've got the Galaxy View today. It's
and I think the right,
LG Galaxy View.
I think the right way to do it is to actually go the other way. Don't pay the carriers a lot of money to show your crap off. Like, advertise the hell out of it, because that's what Apple did. And carriers, at first scoffed at like, why would we want to carry that? And now Verizon comes back to Apple begging on their hands and knees, please let us have an iPhone. Yeah. Do it that way. Like, get people to want
excited. Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I think Google's capable of that. They certainly have the money to be able to do that.
But they just don't do it for their Nexus phones.
They just don't.
Well, they don't want to, because if they do that, they run into the issue that Microsoft ran into by building a Surface. Like, if they go out and start advertising the crap out of it, then all of a sudden the people that are selling Android phones are just like, hey, we sell Android phones.
That's true.
That's why they're not doing it. That's why they only really do it online. They have a couple ads, but
that makes a lot of sense.
Like, you even look at the Surface campaign, how that pissed off a lot of PC manufacturers.
Yeah.
Because you're going right at their market. Like,
exactly. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And when you're trying to get them to use your services, that's why you see all of a sudden Bing on a bunch of goddamn Android phones. Why? Because carriers.
You know what? Like, at the same time, it's like, that these manufacturers aren't performing at the best of their abilities, because Google will come out with something that's amazing, that like the Nexus 4, despite its 4G problems, is probably like the most amazing Android device you could get right now.
Look at the Nexus 10. And the Nexus 7.
Yeah.
They're the best Android tablets on the market.
Oh, by far. The Surface Pro is probably the best Windows 8 tablet you can buy right now.
But guess what? Everyone else owns a Galaxy Tab.
Yeah, I know. Well, here's the thing. Microsoft brings its A game when it goes and develops a piece of hardware. They have amazing hardware people
they just
at
work
Microsoft.
On their software.
Yeah, the thing is, like, why are the other folks not capable of doing something just as good?
Right.
Like, why? Like, they're really like they do this. This is their main function, is to make good stuff and sell it to people.
Because they don't have to make the software.
No, they don't have to.
Microsoft's already done that.
No. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about in general.
That's what I'm saying. They only have to focus on hardware.
No, I'm talking about Microsoft partners and Android partners.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They don't have to make the software, but you think that if they put all that focus into hardware, they can make something amazing.
Right.
Some people do. HTC makes amazing hardware. Amazing. I just wish they wouldn't mess around with the software, but whatever. They do make amazing hardware. Yeah. They're probably one of the few that do it really well. Right. Then on the Windows side of things, Lenovo is probably another one that does it really right.
Asus does it well
and Asus too.
Lenovo, Asus.
But at the same time, all these other folks, HP, just crap.
HP almost got there with the Envy
I don't know.
series.
The Envy is the closest
I like
they've
the
gotten.
Spectre too. Isn't that the all glass one?
Yeah, the Spectre is their Ultrabook. I mean, that's based off of the Envy series.
They've gotten a lot better, but still, they're giving up on the window. They're giving up.
HP's
on
just giving up on themselves.
Yeah.
HP is already.
Our money on,
HP has already
printers.
hung itself.
Hewlett Packard, as I like to call them.
Hewlett Packard.
Yeah.
Captain Hewlett Packard.
Of the SS
bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where were we going?
Keeping things in the Android.
Originally, we were talking about advertising dollars.
Yeah, who knows?
Samsung.
I think we need
you're
to
going to see a Samsung ad every 5 seconds.
Well, guess what?
Soon.
We're going to keep talking about Android.
Yeah, because there's nothing else to talk about.
Andy Rubin, who has been the head of Android, it's his baby. Mm-hmm. He's been the head of Android since Android was Android. And he just left to do bigger and better things at Google.
Yes. He is no longer the head of the Android division. Now it's Sundar
Yeah.
Pichai? Is that his name? He's the Chrome OS guy. So he's basically, they're not merging the teams, but he is the head of both of those teams.
Well, so is Andy Rubin now in charge of creep shots with Google Glass?
Actually, I hear he's got a fond interest for robotics.
Okay.
So he might start doing robots.
I love how Google's getting into Google cars, and they're doing the driverless cars when it's just completely okay. Yeah,
I'm honestly
do this random thing.
I'm honestly really worried about this switch because Android has become its own entity. It is really it is graduated from Google, and Chrome OS it's been in development for far too long, and nothing has happened with it.
I think the eventual vision is to merge the two into one thing.
No,
but I think
as long as Android is taking on Chrome OS and Chrome OS isn't taking on Android.
Exactly. I think that's what they're going to do. I think they understand where their strengths lie.
Big enough to be laptops pretty soon.
Yeah,
so.
I think they understand
the tab phone, the pad phone, pad.
Well, think about it for a minute. Imagine a world where you could buy a laptop that runs Android and it's got a desktop UI.
I like that.
Holy crap!
I like that.
That would be cool. That would be really cool.
That is if Android takes on Chrome and Chrome doesn't take on Android.
Right. And I hope that happens.
This is a gigantic jump here because I think it would be garbage.
If it doesn't, it'll just tank. Chrome OS is not good.
Oh no!
I mean, for it. It's for what it's worth.
It's good for netbooks,
but who uses netbooks? We're on tablets now. We're past netbooks.
Think about it for a minute. Android is essentially Linux.
Right.
Really, it is. That's what it is. So it's basically coming full circle, this loop out into the mobile space and then back
into the desktop world, into the
whatever, pick your device.
Yeah, exactly.
Category world, whatever you want, it will run.
Ubuntu for phones.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll install it on my phone.
But I think, you know what, and I think a lot of this has to do, and I was going to mention this earlier. I think Google let Android get away from itself.
Yeah.
They really should have locked that down better when they first started this. When they first made the Open Handset Alliance, I think there should have been stricter terms on what you could and couldn't do with Android.
The biggest thing is that Andy Rubin is one wild and crazy dude.
But also,
he is crazy.
Do you think Android would have grown as fast if Google would have been locking it down so tight?
I think it would have.
I think it would have.
Really don't.
I think it would have matured. I think it would have matured more as a platform than as a like a method of distribution for companies like Samsung and HTC and things like that. Because like we were saying earlier, when you look at a Samsung device and you open up, TouchWiz, this isn't Android. It's
Right.
it's TouchWiz.
Right.
I think it would have matured more as Android than as
I don't think
TouchWiz
as many people
over
would've picked it
Android.
up, though, because
Samsung would have picked it up guaranteed.
I guarantee you.
What are they going to do? What
Here's
would they
what-
do?
Here's what would have happened. I can tell you this is what would have happened. There would have been certain manufacturers. I think Samsung at first would have been like, nah, screw you. We're going to go do our own thing.
But then they would have, yeah.
But they would have done their own thing, and it would have been crap because we know how great they are.
But at the
making
same
stuff.
time, Google needed something to get started with. Like,
Yes.
if they wouldn't have been out on all these phones all of a sudden in a broad market, they never would have been able to get into it. Like,
Maybe. I think you would have had more people that would have saw the iPhone and would have been willing to play ball a little more and say, okay,
Right.
we won't mess with Android so much.
Exactly,
you know?
because they would have to.
Yes.
If they want to stay in business, they would have to.
If they
I
want to
just
compete
think-
with the iPhone, you know.
I don't know. People still thought that Palm and BlackBerry were gonna be like good OSs. Like,
Well, but BlackBerry had the potential to do it. They just had awful leadership,
Yeah,
and
terrible,
they
terrible
tanked
leadership.
the leadership tanked their company. They could have been an amazing enterprise solution.
Yeah.
But their leadership got arrested on a flight because they were too drunk and they were verbally accosting other passengers of the plane. Like,
Yeah.
that's the issue.
I don't know.
The thing is, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they really let it get away from them, and it hasn't been for the better, really, for Android.
No, it
And-
hasn't.
And I think if they're not careful, it will completely get away from them, and it won't be their thing anymore.
Exactly.
And Android, as we know it, as stock Android, will just cease to exist.
I think is a good
You know?
thing that Andy Rubin is leaving because, like I said,
Right.
Andy Rubin is one wild and crazy dude. Like, he
Yeah.
does what he wants.
I think he almost didn't care. You know,
Yeah.
he was like, whatever, you guys do whatever you want to do. We're gonna make Android the best it can be here, and the marketing folks will figure out. But he was just so focused on making Android what it was there, and he
Yeah.
could really give a crap about whatever
Yeah.
anybody else did with it. Didn't concern him.
As long as his Android was still, or
As
like
long as his
Android was still his,
there, and he could get it out on a phone, you know, basically.
Yeah.
That's what he cared about. And I think having somebody else there that's a little bit more constrained and won't like put up with that stuff.
Not only that, but
You know.
saw it from the outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
Like he wasn't in house. You know, he wasn't working for Android when all this was going down because you could look at it in that way. You could look at it as working, you know, being Andy Rubin or one of his lesser employees and say, this platform is extremely successful. We are doing nothing wrong right now.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you look at it from our standpoint or someone who's working at Google and they could see it from the way you said, Ryan said,
right.
is that they're really getting away from Google and they may have screwed up. But
Yeah.
sure, they're successful, but they may have screwed up.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they could have been better.
Yeah. And the thing is, when I think about it, I'm like, man, what if in like a year or two, Android really does get away from him, and it fully like the first people I'm thinking about are Samsung. Like they fully fork it and they go
Yeah.
their own route. They're like, we're using this base level Android and we're building our own from here on out.
I'm
And
going
just
to bring up a reference,
Yeah.
and that is Migo.
yeah,
And what happened?
right.
Well, wait
There's-
a minute here.
I mean, Migo was their own software, but
It was Nokia's next generation software, but then they just couldn't get it out in time. It was a good OS.
it was a good OS, but it would have never succeeded in the United States.
Well, yeah, because it didn't have the market saturation that like an Android had
Right.
at the beginning because
And if-
so many makers picked
And
it
if
up.
Samsung decides to fork off and ruin Android, I hate to say that, but
Yeah.
ruin Android, that's what would happen. They would do well their first few devices, and then people would go, you know, what happened?
yeah. What?
Yeah,
what
maybe.
What's
Because
going
they
on?
would they may not like the general public may not notice those nuances at first,
Yeah.
but they would eventually say, you know, what happened? Where did this go?
You know what I would do at that point too? Then I would go probably buy a Windows phone.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like what other option would I have?
I think
iPhone.
actually
If Johnny Ive could do something with the next version, I'll take another look at it. But
I can't.
I kind of hate their whole ecosystem.
I just
it a
hate
lot.
iTunes.
iTunes blows. If they
iTunes is the worst piece of software ever.
If they can make it so that I can use my iPhone and do stuff with it without ever having to go to iTunes to manage anything.
Yeah, I love the fact that I can manage this phone, any of my Android devices, without ever having to plug it into my computer. I never have to. People with iPhones, they're like, oh, hold on, I got to back up my music.
It's like, are you serious?
The hell is that? What does that even mean?
All of my settings and everything is backed up to Google
Exactly.
right now. I could go toss this phone
I back up
into a toilet. And
I have my apps.
I'd be totally fine.
I have my apps, all the settings, and all the data from my apps backed up in my Dropbox account.
Yeah.
So any phone that I get, I can instantly just restore everything. So like say, I have a game, on my phone, and I have like save data on that game.
Yeah.
All that save data is backed up. So it's like I'm not even like I just got a new phone, but they just put everything on it.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't know a ton about iOS, other than I've used it a little bit. But they have a lot of that same functionality. That's what the entire
with
iCloud
Mobile
was supposed
Me,
to be.
Or iCloud,
yeah.
but iCloud blows.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. But
It's so not great.
But okay, completely.
But
we're
we're off
completely
topic.
Yeah, we
But
got
back to
way
the
off.
thing.
Yeah.
I think that right now, if Android gets truly forked by the way that the manufacturers are changing it and the way that Google isn't saying, "Hey, please use actual Android,"
Yeah.
it's gonna give an opportunity for a lot of these other OSs that are coming out.
Oh yeah, but
think
I don't
it
care
will.
about them.
No, we don't care about them, but you just have to think about it. It gives them that window. Like we've
Sure.
got Firefox, we've got the Ubuntu.
Actually,
we've
yeah,
got,
that is true. That
and
is
then there's
very
also
true.
like
even Windows
Tizen.
Phone.
Windows Phone.
like you're gonna laugh at me for saying Tizen, but the reason I say Tizen is because they're coming out of Asia.
Yeah.
And there are
Aren't they out of like where is it out of?
I'm not sure which country it is,
I'm checking
but
it out right now.
either way, they're growing out of a market or they're being built in the market where it could actually just explode.
And it's Android based though.
It is.
Yeah.
It's out of that same alliance, but the thing is I think that Android could get in trouble, but at the same time, they're so big right now that it'd be hard for them to get in trouble.
I'm reading their. This is pretty interesting. I'm reading their Wikipedia page right now.
Oh no,
and
Tizen's really interesting.
their developers are Intel, Samsung, and Linux.
wow.
Like the
Yeah.
Linux Foundation.
No, Intel
Those are their
threw a
developers.
ton of money into them.
Yeah. This is really interesting. Now
Well, they were originally part of Nokia's future Migo
And
project.
it is like-
actually.
Those companies desperately want more
Yeah.
competition,
So it's
they don't want it to be.
It's essentially just Java and HTC5 or HTML5. I mean, excuse me.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's Android basically, but more open source than what Android is.
Right.
and it would be. But the thing is all this is would pull power away from Google because it would disconnect them from. They don't earn their money off of selling Android because Android's free. It's an open.
I am not
thing, but
seeing anything about
they earn their money
where
off
they're
of-
out of.
You starting up your phone and you log into Google Drive. You
Right.
go and you use Gmail and you see ads and you use their search. You use this, that, and another. All Google based.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could get in trouble. I don't know. It's because right now Android is just being so forked by so many manufacturers
It's so getting twisted.
Like-
And what troubles me is the fact that people will walk away from certain devices and never use Android again.
Yeah.
Because they got mad, and I've seen this so
Oh, yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
Because they got mad at the experience of whatever manufacturer crap got grafted onto Android, and I was just like, you realize people are actively being turned away from Android or being displeased with it by what your third-party vendors and manufacturers are doing.
Well, it's like
with
my
it,
cousin. She went to an iPhone because she had a
Exactly.
Droid 3.
I could there are dozens of people,
And it just
dozens
broke
of people
all
that
the
I
time.
know,
Yeah.
that got frustrated with an Android phone, that was too forked, did stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm just gonna get an iPhone. It's simpler. It's like, well, there's a lost Android customer. They're
Exactly.
probably never coming back.
Well, you
You
won't
know?
because once you get in the iOS system,
it's
since
hard to move. Yeah.
Apple does this great. I'm a self-professed kind of Apple hater, but Apple does it great how they, with their operating system and with all their phones, you can pick any one of them up and you know how to use it.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're an Apple user,
Right.
and it has,
You don't even have to be an Apple user
not
to know how to
necessarily.
use it.
I get frustrated when I use it because it's a little bit overly simplistic for me, but
Well, right.
beside the point, it's like they've just done that right, and it's a unified thing. Like you can go back and you can pick up a iPhone 3, and it's still, you're gonna recognize everything. You can get around in that.
Yeah.
Like that's where that I think that they are really killing Android right now because of, like you say,
it's the banned word among the Android users, but it's fragmentation is what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's a different level of fragmentation.
Right.
It's like there was fragmentation where not everybody was on the same version, and now it's this whole other level of like, there's this skin,
they're
there's
running
this
different
skin, there's
versions
this
of
skin,
different-
and it's like
a different overlay.
Yeah, there's like 2 levels of fragmentation.
Well,
now.
that and
It's crazy.
then you're also looking at the hardware level of fragmentation,
Yes,
where it's
that
like
too. So there's 3
certain
levels.
applications aren't compatible. You know, hey, this application
Tegra
only
Zone
runs on
versus-
yeah, we need to Tegra.
Exynos
Sorry,
chips,
yeah.
or this application only runs on OMAP chips, or
Right.
Tegra only. Well, because now that's like the Tegra Zone thing isn't actually an issue very much anymore, because at
No,
the
it
time,
isn't, but-
at the time, the Tegra chip was the only one that was like capable of handling like high quality 3D graphics.
well, they still
so-
do have, like, even
Yeah,
the
there are
3
Tegra-
still has a very good
Yeah,
graphics core.
but like a lot of these other chipset manufacturers are
They've started to
making
catch up, yeah.
compatible chipsets where, you know, there's these apps that were only running on Tegra devices at that time,
Yeah,
and
they
are
only
now
know-
able to run on like
And
your
there were,
Qualcomms.
like, they were visible like
S4.
graphics details
They're
that you would
insane,
see. Like
yeah.
it was pretty cool.
I have Street Fighter on my phone. That's the only game I have installed on my phone.
That's
and
cool.
It's just like, it is amazing. The graphics are insane. The controls are awful, but graphics are great.
Original Street Fighter or Street Fighter 4?
Street Fighter 4.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, now that we've gotten kind of done with Android, because
Yeah,
We're gonna
we
continue
really
talking
got
about
sidetracked.
Google.
One more Google topic.
One more Google
Yeah.
topic.
I
was
don't
that
know a ton about
today
this
or
one.
yesterday.
It was a couple
This
days
happened?
It was a couple
actually.
days
Couple
ago.
days ago.
They announced it.
Google killed Google Reader.
Yeah, it's not dead yet.
Well,
but it's
It
going
will
to go
be dead.
away.
they are slowly poisoning Google Reader, and it'll die eventually.
They're euthanizing it.
Yeah, pretty much. It's actually
Putting it down.
I don't know. Did they give a
Google
reason
Reader
why?
I can tell you the reason why. They didn't even have to give a reason, and I don't think they did, but they don't make any money from that.
Well, yeah,
You
they
know?
don't make any money from that, but they have loads of users.
They have tons of users. That
Which
I think
is
I think
stupid.
they have loads of users that are of a certain category. Like tech,
Yeah.
a lot of tech journalists use Google Reader,
Yeah.
you know, and people more advanced. But I don't think the populace at large. Let's put it this way: there's tons of people that use Gmail, tons.
Oh,
but like
it's insane.
the subset of those people that actually use Reader is so minuscule to them that it's just like they don't care, you know.
Yeah.
So to them, they see it and there's like probably no good way to monetize on that Reader service. There's no
Honestly, if they wanted to monetize on it, throw up those Gmail banner
there's a
ads that
little
they have in
gray
there.
bar.
Yeah.
I agree. I think this is probably misguided.
Because how do they monetize on Gmail? Gmail banner ads. But like you said, there's so many more users on Gmail than there are on Google
exactly.
Reader.
I think I'm going to be clear. I think this decision is misguided. I don't agree that this is in their best interest to do this. Like, for as simple of an application as it is, like, why is it really that big of a deal
Right.
to keep it running
and
on
on
some
top
servers?
of that, they aren't making these crazy leaps in development with Google Reader ever.
Right.
No.
Like Google Reader has basically been the same. They've updated
The visuals,
they've updated,
you
but
know.
they've updated that when Google updates everything.
yeah.
Because Google usually they usually don't update individual apps in terms of like user experience or anything until Google updates themselves.
They like to do the spring cleaning thing where they're like,
Yeah.
okay, what things can we get rid of? Which is good. I think it's always good for them to focus, but
when they kill
they
things
have to
like
be
Buzz
really-
and Wave,
Yeah.
and not because no one used Buzz and Wave.
Exactly.
But Google Reader is something that everybody uses. Well, not
A
everybody,
lot of
but
people.
a ton
a
of
fair amount of hardcore dedicated folks use that and rely on that heavily. And I think I
think
see
that
it
might
this
be why
way.
they're canceling it though.
Do you?
I see it this way though. You're just giving people one more avenue to go to something
Well,
else.
now here's the thing. I don't know how much you guys know about Google Currents.
Oh,
But
Currents.
Currents
Yeah, I forgot about
was an
Currents.
application developed for Android by Google
I've tried to use that
year
before.
ago.
I was never a fan of
They,
that.
year
that's
ago.
still
Like it.
running. They haven't
Yeah,
killed
they
that.
actually just updated it recently.
It's a
UI
pretty
update.
great app.
I use Currents a lot. I have a feeling that
It's kinda
that's
like
what they're-
Flipboard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that that's just what they're replacing it with.
That could
is
be.
Currents. Is
You know,
they're gonna make a Currents web app.
The difference between it is that the newsy folks, like the tech journalists, and all
who
that,
just want straight.
they want
news.
straight text, you know,
Yeah.
to just scroll through and just like, okay, what are the headlines? And then there's the consumer folks that like, oh, the idea is you have a
You have
tablet in your hand,
yeah, and you
can
have
just
a
go
title.
through
You have
stuff.
a heading picture with
Yes.
with the title on it.
Right.
But I could see them just saying, you know, why are we developing Currents and Reader at the same time?
Yeah,
We got to get rid of one of them.
Right.
Which one's it going to be?
I can see that, and I guarantee you, Currents has more users.
Oh yeah, because
You know.
I think it was just because they developed it for Android, and people are seeing, you know, because they didn't have a native Reader app, did they?
They didn't until Currents came
Yeah,
along.
exactly.
Yeah.
So they, you know, they developed this app, and people are like, oh, you know, this is developed by Google, and I can read my news through it. I'm gonna get this app, and
Right.
so it just like slowly got a ton of users.
Yep.
So, in lieu of the slow but painful death that Google Reader is suffering from, we are gonna maybe talk about. We're gonna touch on them briefly.
Yeah,
We're not really
a few
gonna. Yeah.
suggestions.
I've written 3 in the show notes, and the first one is Currents, which we just talked about, developed by Google, and it's a more visual, application for your news. Which
Yeah.
I also want to say that Pulse is another alternative
Yeah.
on Android and iOS. It's pretty much the same as Currents. I hate Pulse compared to Currents. Pulse is a really resource heavy app.
I haven't used Currents
It's a really
in a while. I
Pulse
need
is
to
a really
revisit.
ugly
Last time I
resource
used
heavy app.
Current, I don't know. I tried
There
to
you
get
go.
into it, but I just didn't like
There you
it.
go.
I should have it. It's just been a while.
You probably have to.
By the way, I find it kind of funny that Currents doesn't follow the same color scheme for their icon as the
No,
rest of the
it's
Google
really
apps.
strange, and
It's very weird.
and it would actually be a really easy fit.
Oh, I haven't used this in a while. This is actually really nice. It's like
Yes.
cards. It's like
Yeah.
the Google Now
Yeah.
kind of design language. This is really nice.
So our
Um,
second replacement choice, actually, I think this should be bundled together, is Feedly and Flipboard,
Yeah.
because in terms of like overall look, they're really similar. Feedly and Flipboard are even more magazine-like than Currents is. Another great application for news aggregation. And then actually Dig. Dig is making a return.
Dig is gonna. They said they're gonna implement a Google Reader. Like if you want to,
Yeah.
I can imagine if you want like kind of the same sort of Google Reader functionality, I think Dig's gonna really re-implement that.
And it's more user oriented.
Yes.
Which Google Reader and Currents and Feedly and Flipboard aren't. This
Yes.
one is. It's almost like mixing Google Reader and Reddit together.
By the way, sorry Flipboard, I just replaced you with Currents on my home screen. So because this is too nice.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at this in like literally forever, and it's really nice. It fits the Android design scheme.
Yeah, it's a really nice app. But
Yeah.
Dig is more like if you mixed Google Reader and Reddit together
Right.
and made a little application. But those are our replacements. I doubt many of you use Google Reader, so
Yeah, I don't get the sense. I never talk to people.
I don't
and-
use RSS anymore because of Twitter. As strange
sense.
as that sounds,
it makes sense.
like, because I like the text-heavy style, and I don't know. I like flicking through things really fast.
I think that's another thing that they looked at and they said, people get their news from other avenues now instead of like people at large, not tech
Yeah.
journalists or whatever, but
actually,
from
yeah.
like Twitter and things like this.
Right.
So I
Nick
think,
and I were
yeah,
talking about this kind of on the way here, like how they look at demographics of who is using. Like we were talking actually about how you hear Ting right now is being advertised on This Week in Computer Hardware, where before it was being advertised on All About Android, and how Audible's once you saturate a certain market,
yeah,
You got to move on.
like
Yeah.
you just have to move on. And I don't know if maybe Google's seeing like they've got all these users that are already using Gmail, that are already using Calendar, like they're logged into their Reader account, and if they're already logged into all their other accounts,
yeah.
I wonder if Google just is like, we're gonna stop sticking money into this product because
but it can't
we've
cost them that
saturated
much
that.
to keep Reader active.
I
It
think
can't,
it's
but at the same time,
it's keeping servers that are already running. Like it all probably costs them almost nothing.
But just leaving a service at what it is can be more frustrating than just updating it.
That's true.
You can free up. Yeah, you can. Well,
I know
we're not
I might
that.
be leading into
Don't-
something else here.
Well,
but
we're going to talk about before we
Can I
talk
please
about.
segue?
Let's segue right into it.
Okay, well, I'm going to give this guys to you because I'm not privy on this information.
Okay.
So I will be.
So basically, TweetDeck for mobile is dying.
This is okay.
When Twitter bought the company of TweetDeck, they basically halted development on the mobile version of TweetDeck, and it
was
hasn't
worse
changed.
than just killing it.
Yeah, it was worse than killing it. I wish they would have done this 2 years ago, or I don't know how long ago it was.
I would have been pissed off,
but I would have been mad. But man, I was already mad anyway. So
Yeah.
And you know what? Not only that, there's this other version called TweetDeck, which fixes a few bugs.
Yeah.
That's gonna stop working too because basically
Twitter's changing their API.
they're gonna shut off their old
Yeah.
version of the API, and you can't get at stuff the same way you used to with the same calls and methods and all that. So
Twitter's removing functionality and new API upgrades, so you
Yeah.
have to use their app.
See, the thing that bothers me is it doesn't bother me so much the fact that TweetDeck is going away on mobile. What bothers me is there's no really great replacement
You
for it.
can't make a replacement though because
Yeah.
you get capped at a certain number of users.
You do get capped.
Yes.
The thing is, I have yet to find that perfect Twitter application that does what I want it to do, just like TweetDeck did.
Yeah.
Like, there's other Twitter applications, like literally they do almost everything right, except for the fact that, and I don't know why all the other applications seem to do this and can't get it right like Twitter does it. When you go to the Connect tab now, the @
Yeah.
it shows you favorites, retweets, and @ replies. Like all of those in one column. No other app that I found does that the right way. They have a column for @ replies, but they don't have a column for favorites and retweets.
And you can't customize it either. Like you're stuck at what you're completely just given most of the time.
You can't make a custom column and say I want to see favorites, @ replies, and this and there. I've never found an application on Android, and it's probably the same case on iOS, that does that the right way. And the native Twitter app just sucks.
So the thing is, I had mine set up because I don't care about DMs. No one DMs me, and if you DM me,
no, you
I'll
DM
get the
people. If
email
you're a
and see
tech
it.
journalist, you DM people, But
all I get is spam DMs, so I don't want that on my main page. But you know what? With almost every other one, you've just got you've got your DMs, you've got this, that, and another. And you can't just get rid of it. But with TweetDeck, what I could do is they had. Now I sound like just an old man. You got rid of my old thing. But I had first was my timeline, and then I would have my Facebook timeline right next to it, which was also nice because I could have a Twitter timeline and a Facebook timeline side by side, and then I would have all my mentions, and it would integrate both Facebook and Twitter mentions. And then down I would have lists. 'Cause I had a StarCraft list, I had a Minecraft list, I had a friends that I actually care about what they say list, and there's nothing that really offers that functionality that I've found yet. Listeners, if you know of functionality like this, tell me.
Tell us. Or I've had thoughts some days where I'm like, you know what, I should go write one. I should just make the killer TweetDeck replacement app for Android and just kill that space.
The only issue
charge
is
$1 or $2 for it and just kill that space.
Every single time you hit 5,000 users or 25,000 users, you would have to make a new app. Because otherwise Twitter is gonna block you because they want big users to use their app. And it's ridiculous.
This leads directly back into the other thing we were going to talk about, is that Twitter has basically lost their marbles. They're crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dick Costolo, I'm talking to you right now. What the hell is going on? And why are you hating on your users so much? People want to use your application. I don't care if you force ads into third-party applications. If
that wouldn't be a big deal.
If they have to come up in my stream, fine. I don't care. I will look at them gladly. But just let us use what we want to use, because what your idea of a good Twitter app is, the one you wrote, the Twitter app
does not work for
it's a piece
lot of users.
of crap. It's terrible. So like I just think they are so like they've lost focus on what they should be doing. There was a fork. I feel like they hit this fork in this road where it's like we could keep developing and be a service and be like really awesome at that and do what we're supposed to do. Or we could go down this media route and try and partner with all these media things so that when you turn on NBC and watch a show, there's a little hashtag at the bottom of the Twitter logo. They went that route. They went the other route where it's like we're going to be this media thing and we're going to suck. We're gonna suck as a service, but we're gonna be this mainstream like.
They partnered with the other dying media.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Like,
yeah, Twitter definitely needs to get their head out of their ass and figure this out.
Yeah,
because
it's such a great, like, Twitter's an amazing concept, and it was awesome. So amazing for such a long time, and in this last year, they were just like. What is going on? It makes
me not want to use it. Like
I have to use it.
It makes me think.
I know I have to.
It makes me think. What can I replace it with? I want a Twitter that does this, and this, and I think, app.net.
But that costs me money. Why would I pay money to be on a social network?
Probably not enough people there to want that. Like, and it's just like, just do it right. You can do both. You can be the excellent service, and you can have the media partnerships. I don't know why you care what avenue users get to, like, to get to your service. You know, like, it's such an old school way of thinking about it. You know, it's just like so old school, and it makes me mad. Really makes me mad. At least Facebook, your big competitor, Twitter, is actually making headway in mobile apps.
Definitely,
like leaps and bounds ahead of you.
They are always working on their app.
Yeah, they are leaps and bounds ahead of Twitter. In terms of the app space, like there's still, even though it's native now and like a million times better, there's still little things that bother me about the Facebook app, but I use it because
it works.
It's the best thing.
And it's functional. And there's like maybe 2 like major replacements for the Facebook app for your phone, and they're garbage.
Yeah, they're really bad.
Yeah,
and it's
because Facebook developers are actually, or the Facebook people are actually better than what they're going against. But
so it's like, go figure. If you want people to use your app, make it really good.
Speaking of Facebook, I don't know.
Facebook's one of those few companies though that actually draw in like good recruits. Like they are up there in prestige, and it's crazy to think this with Microsoft, Google, and Apple.
Yeah.
Speaking of Facebook, today there was some news, and I didn't throw it in the notes because it's not that newsworthy. But Facebook actually just hired a new CTO.
Really?
And it is an ex-Mozilla developer that was like with Mozilla from the start.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
So I have a feeling we're gonna be seeing the new news feed, and it's gonna be like super amazing, and it's gonna be super optimized for the web.
I hope so, man. I hope so, because somebody needs to get. I feel like somebody else there needs to shake Mark Zuckerberg once in a while and just be like, what are you doing?
He's in his own little cloud.
He's in his own cloud, but I think he so little gets just like this shake from somebody that's like, listen, what do you think you're doing with this?
He does have really, I just cracked there, but he does have really good ideas every once in a while. Like,
he has really good ideas.
He's a really smart guy. It's just he does need someone there to like.
He's smart enough to know that he knows exactly how much work he needs to do,
right?
And like how much innovation he needs to do to keep his business as successful as it always is.
Yes, that's true.
Because unless like Facebook, does something absolutely stupid, it's never going to be unsuccessful.
No, it's going to be around for a long time. At this point, I feel like it's enough of a force that it's going to be around for a while. I won't put a year date on it, but
did we talk about Twitter for Windows 8?
We didn't talk about Twitter for Windows 8 yet.
Okay, Lucas is actually trying it right now. They released a native Windows 8 app, which apparently isn't that great.
It's not that bad. I was the exact opposite of what I thought it was going to be. I'm not complaining about it.
Okay.
Because is
it fully Metro?
Not fully Metro, but
that sucks.
It works.
If you're making a Windows 8 app to sell in the Windows 8 marketplace, you should make it fully Metro.
Excuse me, app development, like folks in whatever company you're working for, whatever your platform you're developing for, match the design language.
There's a reason.
Or I'm going to find you. I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to murder you.
There's a reason that Android and iOS and Windows Phone and Windows 8 have these design language guidelines.
Right.
There's a reason they have these web applications and books that are made by the actual manufacturer and developers that say, if you're making an app and you want to be successful, follow these easy design steps.
Exactly.
The only bad thing about the Twitter app is that I remembered what my photo on my main page, my Twitter page was.
What is it?
And it's really disturbing. It's man boobs, but
Oh, gross.
yeah.
Yeah, so Windows 8 app, whatever.
It works. I'm actually
it
not.
exists.
But I kind of like it.
Now, you have used multiple alternatives, though.
Yes.
Which, is it better, worse, about the same?
In full screen mode, it is worse. In the side mode, it actually is slightly better.
Than MetroTwit?
Yes.
Really?
Like MetroTwit, like, because I like.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I like this setup, how it's like just a lot, and it's actually fairly quick, and you can, on the top, it has all the different menus, but like you look at it full screen.
Yeah,
and
that's disgusting.
Yeah, it is. No, but like, look at my home time. It just doesn't use
that's
up
awful. It doesn't use any white space.
That looks exactly like the iPad app.
Yeah.
They're like, seriously, app designers at Twitter, shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame on you. Like,
And
that is so offensive to me.
The thing is I compare that to, if I can pull up TweetDeck here, or Tweetro. That's what I use. Wow, I said TweetDeck.
Twitro.
They just use, like, on your opening home screen, they just use the space a lot better because it is full on Metro. Like, you can go to the side and it has just all your different stuff.
Oh, who's that? Oh, yeah.
But it's just, that works a lot better than where Twitter is like,
agree.
oh, we're gonna do this up scrolling thing where everything in Windows 8 is side scrolling.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it actually uses the entire
Yeah,
screen.
it plays to widescreen. It plays to widescreen devices.
God.
But yeah, I mean, whatever. Not a lot of people.
You know what?
Not a lot of our listeners are on Windows 8 at this point.
Not a lot. I look at it this way. All of these big social networking companies, or whoever it might be, feel the need to enforce their brand, like, all the way down to the minuscule level of, like, our apps need to look this way,
and they have to have
our app design language, and it's this, and this, and it's like, you know what? I'm kind of okay with that, actually, because it creates this whole big market for other great developers to come in and do it way better than you're doing it. You know, it's like, fine.
Exactly.
I've got opportunity. I can go make something really good right now and just blow yours out of the water.
But then you have Facebook, where they're developing these apps and they're just gorgeous.
They're good. Because they're paying attention.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't see a lot of Facebook third-party clients.
Yeah.
Because
I can think of one. That's it.
Yeah, because they're doing it right.
Right.
They're doing it right. And granted, I don't know if Facebook has a Windows 8 app yet. No, so they haven't got. I'm sure they'll get there.
But yeah, I mean, there's no reason to make one at this point because Windows 8 is not a household name.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
touch-wise, it isn't big enough yet.
But I think I would put it past Facebook. I'm sure they'll do it. I'm sure they'll do it, and they'll do it the right way. You know, they're good at that.
I think
this new news feed is really going to be touch friendly too.
Yes.
Can I talk about how bad Facebook's page is on here?
Oh, I can imagine.
Because it defaults to that your mobile view for Facebook
on the RT.
Yes.
Oh.
So like think about
because
using,
it's a mobile browser.
Yeah.
Right.
Like once you start using a tablet with that, just you can't.
I know exactly what
it.
you mean because it's not the same on our Galaxy tab.
Because like. Part of it is, you want a like with the tablet.
It's like a hybrid mode is what you want.
A lot more, but you need those bigger touch points. Well, it's
tough. It's tough because you can't. What these applications do is when you're logging in, the browser actually recognizes what processor you're running, and then it translates to the web page. That web page that that's the user agent, and then the web page decides if it has a mobile site, it'll default to the mobile site. Otherwise, it won't. So you can't really make. Unless you had a separate link on your web page that said tablet friendly mode or something, you can't really make a site that defaults to tablet mode.
But it should still see the OS.
Yeah, it'll see the OS, but that's it. I mean,
it's another thing is like
you see Windows RT.
Well,
you should
no,
be...
actually, they can't really do that. Well, they could do that, but then you have this permission where it's looking. Your application is looking at more of your phone info than or your device info than what it is, and you run into permission.
You can run into that, yeah.
And that's a tough thing for app developers, because when you're running into these permissions that may look shady to the average user,
but then
they lose a lot of users.
Isn't this on like the hardware manufacturer then? Because all you have to do, you add in one transistor on your motherboard, I say, even though it's not technically that, and that would be enough to detect.
But
like for tablet versus
then, so all the hardware manufacturers have to do that, and then all the all the website developers have to create a tablet mode website, and that's just never going to happen.
They have to account for it in their code.
That's why they just develop.
It'd be a nice option though when you think about it, because then you could make a better experience for all these tablets that are out there.
But it's just not going to happen.
That's why responsive design is the way of the future.
Exactly.
Because you don't target.
You know what website is going to have great responsive design?
Ours.
TechBuzzed.com.
We're going to do that way.
Oh,
That's going to be sweet.
Expandable SVG graphics, baby.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited. It's going to be the first responsive design website I've ever done. I'm so excited because it's in my mind, that's the way of the future.
We started talking about it. I just instantly went to Polygon because
Polygon does it great.
They have my favorite website of all time.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it's amazing.
Let's continue.
Yep. Sorry. I got
we keep rambling. We got a quick little topic and then one more after that.
All right.
So Microsoft's Outlook.com went down for like 16 hours, you said?
Yeah,
16 hours the other day.
Time.
Was it yesterday or the other day?
I think it was like a couple of days ago. Like earlier last week.
They had a server overheat.
They had a whole farm warehouse overheat.
No.
Yeah. The whole like farm warehouse went down because like they've got automatic like procedures in place. Like if it gets too hot in a certain area, the thing just shuts down.
Yeah, it'll shut down.
So it was down for whatever. I think it had something to do. I was listening to Windows Weekly and they were talking about this. It had something to do with they were doing some sort of hot fix or upgrade to all of the servers, and normally it's like a very regular thing, and it like never has an issue.
Probably do it during like off hours or something like that.
Yeah. But for some reason this particular time, some hot fix they applied to all the servers spun some process up, and it just kept going really fast, and it just revved all the servers, and so it was kind of bad news, but
it's kind of funny actually.
It's honestly, and like no one should look at this as saying Outlook sucks and Microsoft sucks, because this could happen to
anybody. I mean,
but
it's just newsworthy. I mean, seriously, like this could happen because it sounds exactly it is, but it just sounds like it is a hardware fluke where their servers just didn't handle the hotfix in the way that it was supposed to, and it just happened.
They did everything. I'm sure knowing Microsoft, they did everything procedurally the way in terms
should,
of updating that stuff. It's just like,
it was just a hardware fluke,
and that's why you account for that stuff, and you build in methods so that you can roll back and take back the change. And I'm guessing it just maybe took them a little longer because of all the amount of stuff they had.
Especially if they overheated.
Yeah.
Because you have to wait at that point for them to cool down to a stable temperature.
Yep.
I bet that place was so hot inside there. You got to think of how many servers they have in
steamy.
That. I bet it was just boiling in there.
Yeah. Yep.
One quick topic, last topic here before we hit the beer segment. Actually, I have something to say after this topic, but
okay.
OS X 10.8.3.
Yes.
Has it been released?
It is here now, and I can't wait to update my MacBook Pro in front of me to get it. Yep.
Basically the only talking point about this upgrade, as far as
the one that caught my eye,
is that there's now native Windows 8 driver support.
Yes.
So you can boot camp into Windows 8, because before it was only Windows 7 that you could boot camp into, and now
I'm curious how reception of Windows 8 will be with like.
I think that touchpad on Windows 8.
That's what I'm excited about.
Like amazing.
I'm gonna do it on my MacBook Pro. I've actually been meaning on my MacBook Pro to like reformat this whole thing and start fresh just because, you know.
You've got a reason.
Yeah, now I've got a reason. So what I'm going to do is I have got Windows 7 on another partition. I'm going to just blow it all away, reformat the whole thing, reinstall OS 10.
Because Ryan backs things up.
Because I'm smart.
So do I.
Folks.
I'm dumb.
Actually, what's cool is that now that I have my tower PC, all my data's over there.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't have a need to keep anything on here.
Yeah.
You know? So it's
really
like
nice, actually.
I'm gonna blow it all away, reinstall OS 10, and then put Windows 8 on this bad boy. I'm sure it's gonna be sick.
Nice.
So
I could have an entire topic on Windows 8 right now and how it works nice, like switching devices. But
honestly,
anyway.
we all love Windows 8. We absolutely love Windows 8.
It's good.
And no one
besides the whole like the transition between the Metro UI and the desktop.
Yeah, it's a little wonky.
By the way, on Windows Weekly this week, Paul Thurrott was talking about this third-party software that somebody makes, Monitor something Mix. I can't remember what it is, but basically lets you run Metro apps in windowed mode.
Whoa.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
So like that's kind of the game changer for me because
is it like a virtual machine or what?
No. It's just lets you run it in a smaller window. So like basically think about it. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
I think that's how it should be. Imagine you're in full screen mode in Metro and you're like, yeah, I want to pop to the desktop. You hit your shortcut. That window just shrinks down to a window and you're in your desktop mode. That is kind of awesome. That's like the way I want it to be.
You know what? Actually, my favorite thing about that idea is
they'll make multi-monitor use a lot better.
Yeah,
multi-monitor use, yes. And then like when you're in Metro mode and you have like two windows open at the same time, you can only do there's only like technically 3 options where you go split the screen in half, all to one side or all to the other.
Yeah.
This would allow you to like rearrange your Metro apps for as much as you want, because there's sometimes like if I'm editing a document, like the halfway point may be not enough, so I want to extend it a little bit more, but I don't want to extend it to 7/8 of the screen,
right?
So that would be, I think that's great.
That would be cool.
That's really great.
Yep.
So quick before we hit the beer segment, I want to extend an apology for any of our listeners of last week's episode. When I said that we were going to have a tip of the week with remote desktop last week, the 2 days that I could record that tip of the week, I was super sick and my voice was completely shot, so I couldn't record. However, I'm hoping that I will be in good health this week and I will record it either Wednesday or Thursday and it'll go up the next day. So just a quick apology for everyone out there. Expect the remote desktop to be out next week. And we'll be back with the beer segment in just a second.
Everyone was having fun. This kind of feeling, I waited so long. Don't stop, come a little closer as we jam. The rhythm gets stronger. There's nothing wrong with just a little fun. We were dancing all night long. The time is right to put my arms around you. We're feeling right to put your arms around.
And we're back. Hope you enjoyed that music break. We have a very special edition of Beer of the Week this week. We're taking things back, rocking the 40-ounce edition of Beer of the Week, and we all brought 40s.
Yes.
It's delicious.
So we're talking about junk. That's about
delicious.
it. Lucas is going to lead things off with his 40-ounce pick. Now we do. Now before anything happens here, I'd like to say that Luke and I brought malt liquor, and Ryan brought actual beer.
Yeah.
So
I
That's
couldn't.
fine though.
No, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I just wanted to.
Instead of buying a 40 ounce of something, I bought 22 ounces.
Ryan couldn't bring himself to drop himself.
I couldn't bring myself to the shame of bringing a 40 ounce up to the counter and be like, yeah, I actually want this.
We did.
We got called names.
Yeah, we got called names when we bought it.
Anyway,
but yeah,
I'll introduce my beer here.
Go ahead.
So, my beer is a king of sorts. Like Ryan says, his bear is the king of beers.
Well, his beer's got the crown.
Okay,
I don't claim anything myself about my beer.
His beer is the black king of beers.
Is that racist?
I don't know.
Do we have the Mario coin that out?
It's
I don't know.
black crown, so it is the black king of beers.
He's talking
No,
about.
it's a beer with the black
Racist
crown.
would be, hey, it's the Kanye of beers.
I don't see that being racist.
I guess you're right. But anyway, I have got the king of Cobras.
I think you just said your beer.
I did.
see.
So I've got King Cobra. It's I'm a big fan of it. It was my first malt liquor, and it was delicious. I got really drunk.
I want to drink some of this. I haven't had King Cobra in years.
I like it. Like
it's been a while.
I like it better than most malt liquors because it doesn't want to kill me quite as bad. It's
no Steel Reserve.
No, it's definitely not. And that's why I don't like those, but I do like King Cobra because it's just, I don't know.
By the way, I didn't get out the pickles this week just because I figured whatever.
Yeah, we're drinking malt liquor. Who cares?
Nah, the pretzels work very well for this.
Man, let's
That
get
is
some
not
AB.
bad.
Let's get
I
some
know.
ABVs.
That's actually really tasty.
I'm gonna bring some ABVs in here because I think that's kind of important
Folks,
as
King
well.
Cobra is really good.
I think this is gonna be a big factor. Since we're drinking malt liquor, I'm gonna bring in ABVs as well. So the
The get drunk ratio. This one's 6%.
6% on King Cobra.
Mine is 6%. I'm not gonna say mine yet, but mine is also 6%.
I don't know what mine is. It doesn't say on the bottle.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna do a quick beer advocate search for it.
For Colt 45.
Hey, you
Beer
spoiled my
advocate.
beer.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
Well, Ryan's going next. So we just tasted. I honestly, I can't even talk about Lucas's beer because it was King Cobra.
What,
I
you
like
got a
their new
problem?
logo.
Yeah, they've got a new design, same great taste. King Cobra, sponsor me.
Oh, guess what? 6.1. Get on my level.
Oh, man, you're really gonna mess us all up.
Ryan, go ahead.
All right. So the reason I saw this beer and decided to pick it was because of a Super Bowl ad I saw for this beverage that involved a bunch of douchebags jumping around in black attire, drinking said beverage, and this is Budweiser Black Crown. I remember literally tweeting during the Super Bowl, man, these Black Crown Budweiser people look like douchebags.
And now, and you bought 222 on
So
the bottle,
basically, what I would say about this beer is if you want it, say you get invited to a place, go party with some people, and you just kind of don't really care for this group of folks. They're not really your friends. You just got invited. And let's say you don't want to get invited back in the future. Just buy this beer and drink it. and you can be a douchebag when you drink this beer, and then they'll forever associate this beer with douchebaggery, and you won't be invited.
that kind of
back.
has like it's not an aftertaste. It's like the right before the aftertaste.
Right.
And
It tastes
I don't
like
like
Budweiser.
it. I don't like it.
This
It's strange.
Basically, this beer says it tastes okay. It'll taste better than regular Bud. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure.
But-
Because Budweiser tastes like salt.
What this beer says to the general populace when you drink it is, "Hi, I'm a douche."
Yeah, I agree with that.
Based on the advertising alone, and that's it. But
I'm probably gonna be the guy that defends it the most because I actually bought this before and I almost brought it last week, but then I realized it would get creamed because it'd be going against beers that were much
Yeah.
better and more expensive. But I really don't mind.
okay.
I've always, I don't know, I've had a soft spot for the big breweries just because I can always
You're a
find it for
corporate
dirt
whore?
cheap. Yes, I'm a corporate whore. Capitalism, baby. But anyway, I don't know. I've got a soft spot for that. It's really not a terrible beer. If like,
it's not bad.
because
It's
the
not
thing
bad,
is
yeah.
I'm thinking of like my mother. She hates all of the beers that I will recommend her, like even like a Blue Moon.
Oh, really?
But she loves her Busch Light.
Oh, God.
Oh man, who doesn't love Busch Light?
I don't
But,
love
like,
Busch Light. I hate
There
Busch
are
Light.
there are a lot of people out there like that where they would love that beer, but they
Yeah.
wouldn't like a true amber lager.
Yeah,
Right,
That's
right.
true.
Like
That's true.
like it's.
I have friends
don't know.
like
I don't
that.
understand it, but it's very true.
I don't get
Chelsea,
it either.
if you're listening, you know you're one of those
Yeah.
people.
and like there's nothing
Chelsea,
wrong
if
with
you're
it. but-
listening, you're awful.
No, this would be a decent beer for a person like that. Like that's what I kind of like. That's the appeal of it to me. Is like it's
Yeah,
something you
I
can have at a
understand.
party and like actually give to people instead of like handing them a lion stout and then they start puking immediately
Yeah.
once they smell it.
Right.
That's why I don't give anybody my beer because I bring good beer and they
Right.
can sit. On
It's actually a
their-
great reason to bring sophisticated beer
Yeah.
because nobody else will drink your stuff.
Exactly.
They'll
They'll
take
be like,
one sip and just be like, ugh.
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 God, I'm drinking chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Well,
That's right.
That's
I have
I
a
say that
sophisticated
because
palate.
I say
Yeah.
that because Ryan was.
get on our level.
Oh God.
Get on this level here,
Yeah.
folks.
Level. We're at Warpipe 4.
Are we
Where
really
are you
gonna
at?
say get on our level while we're doing a 40 week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get up here.
So that was
Actually,
black.
I want to add one more thing to this week's part of the beers.
Yeah.
Is should we mention price?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I bought my well, you go first cuz
Yeah.
Mine was, I ripped the tag off. I think it was, but I'm gonna say
It
around
was like $1.60 or something like that.
Yeah,
wasn't
I'll
it?
say $1.70 just so I'm fair.
Okay.
Because I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was under $2. Like it was I was surprised how cheap it was.
I couldn't bring myself to pay for 40, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to get 222 ounces of Black Crown, and they were each like 220, I think. So it was wound up being like 440.
Mine was $2.40.
Okay.
But now it's time for my beer, and all I have to say is Colt 45 and 2 zigzags, baby. That's all we need. We can go to the dog park after dark. Yeah.
I don't have any weed here though, so
I don't want any.
Yeah.
I brought the king. I don't care about King Cobra. This is the king of malt liquors, because when you think malt liquor, you think of that stallion and that horseshoe, that Colt 45.
I think of Mickey's.
You're weird. Colt 45.
Thanks, Hollywood Undead.
It's the best malt liquor around. Well, it's actually the second best malt liquor around, but I couldn't find Big Bear or Steel Reserve anywhere.
It was at my local Kroger's, but we didn't want to go there because we would get shot.
Yeah. Was that racist?
No.
No, that's
Okay.
just a fact.
Okay. Well,
It
that's
literally
fair.
is a fact. It's
So I brought Colt 45, the traditional
Also
malt liquor.
tasty.
I
Also
don't
very
mind Colt
tasty.
45.
I like
at
it.
all of a sudden Ryan is like turning into a 40 connoisseur.
No. I mean, I've had 40s before. It's just been a long
We need
time.
like a 40 glass, like a sipping glass for
I think
40s.
I think I've had both of these before. It's just been so long since I have, and I've forgotten what they taste like.
And Colt
And they're actually
45,
tasty.
Colt 45 adopts the traditional 40 shaped bottle, while the
Yes.
King Cobra takes on the less traditional 16 ounce
well,
bottle.
good for
shape.
you. I'm sorry that mine has a nice slender
No.
neck.
Because this shows that I have big hands, and you know what they say about big hands? Big gloves
Yep.
and bigger 40 necks.
And small d-
Yeah.
On that note. So actually it's the
we
Colt
all
45
brought-
was pretty good. It was I was just gonna say something about it because we had that very awkward moment that's probably gonna get cut, like this monologue right now.
No, it won't get cut.
Okay, maybe
Not
not.
getting cut.
Why would we cut anything from this show? Nobody listens to it anyways.
Hey, we love our listeners.
Yeah, we do. We love
Yeah.
you guys.
We love you.
More than you could ever know.
Anyway, send us an email one of these days.
TechBuzzed at
I haven't checked the
gmail.com.
email in a while.
Neither
I
have
probably
I.
should do that.
We'll open it up. There'll be like 15 emails. Hey,
I'm gonna look
how
at
do
it
I log
right-
It's like-
onto my computer?
It's just like Samsung saying we'll give you money.
damn it. Nigerian.
It's just Sergey Brin over and over again, just being like,
Hey, you guys want a demo copy of Google S?
yeah.
Yes, please.
Email me back within the next day, and I'll send you one.
I would just stop this show right here.
But anyway,
Can we vote?
I
Oh
want
wait,
to talk
Lucas
about the Colt
wants to talk about
45.
Colt 45.
It was,
the greatest malt liquor in the world.
I disagree, but that's another story. It was you could, I don't know, I could almost tell that it was brewed a little bit stronger than the King Cobra.
Yeah,
'cause
6.1% alcohol by volume. Get
wouldn't-
on my level.
Okay, drinking my beer, I did not think that it had much any alcohol in it.
Much any?
Much any.
Much any.
I'm fitting.
Do we have much any emails?
Actually, there's one from January that I forgot about.
Oh.
I actually didn't forget about. I think my friend told me she was going to email us.
Maybe we'll address this.
Let's
We're
address it
terrible
right
people.
now.
No, let's finish the beer segment, then we'll address
Okay.
it.
All right. We'll finish up, and then we'll finish with the TechBuzzed question.
We'll finish up. We'll take a quick music break, and then.
Aaron, we're going to get to your question.
Sorry, Aaron. We love you.
Yeah.
You're our favorite, actually. All right, Lucas, continue on your Colt 45 thing.
I was just gonna say that it's like the King Cobra, my King beer I brought, or the malt liquor I brought, it doesn't taste like there's much any alcohol in it.
So
where the Colt 45, I can taste it there. Actually.
So you're saying that King Cobra is malt liquor for pussies?
Yes,
Okay.
I don't care. It's I drink. I love pussy beer.
All right. I just wanted to make that known. Let's vote.
Hey, it's delicious. You can still
Okay.
bash it over someone's head.
Oh, this thing will murder you.
Yeah, both of them would. All
Yeah.
three of them would here.
Yeah.
All
right.
Ryan
All right.
could use 2. He could dual wield.
We're gonna vote. We're gonna vote.
Okay.
Is everyone ready to vote?
I'm
I'm
ready.
not
We're gonna
ready to
do-
vote. Can I taste? I want to taste.
Let's get your retaste.
I kind of want to retaste all the beers kind of side by side more.
Quick retaste as well.
As am I.
They were all good. Funny enough.
They were all good enough. That's what I want to say. Not good. They were good enough for what we brought.
Hey man, let me put it this way. I'll take this any day over like some terrible like keg beer. Actually,
Some like adjunct beer, yeah.
yeah,
I
like
agree.
some natty light from like a keg at a college
Yeah.
party. I will drink a 40 any day over that. This tastes so much better, and it's actually super cheap. So it's like, you know,
This is what I used to do when I drank illegally. Was
yeah.
purchased really cheap 40s because I could spend $6 and get drunk in a night.
I wish I was smarter during my college years and just did more.
And now-
and did more 40s.
And now I spend $6 on a 12-ounce bottle of beer,
Yeah.
and I don't even get buzzed.
Which one? I need to try this. The Cobra.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
Oh,
going
it's
to
okay.
pass that to you.
Okay.
Lucas, did you need the Black Crown?
I already had it.
Okay.
All right. I think I'm good. I think I know.
I think I know.
I think I know. Okay.
Too.
All right.
Ready.
Wait, I gotta get to
Okay.
our Facebook page because
And we will do the 3, 2, 1 countdown.
Correct.
I'm getting physics stress.
Physics.
So's your mom.
Physics. How does that work?
This week I have read a physics book for probably 16 hours.
Wow.
It's been depressing. Anyway,
Gross.
yeah.
1.
2, 3. I'm
gotta
not sure what.
refresh.
I'm not sure. Yeah, let me refresh. It is
King Cobra.
King Cobra.
the victor.
Okay. All right.
We had 1 vote for Colt 45. That was myself. And 2 votes for King Cobra. No votes for Budweiser Black Crowns.
Okay, I'm gonna defend the Budweiser Black Crown actually
Okay.
Oh,
because the only reason that
but
I
you didn't vote for it.
I
though.
didn't vote for it, but I still think it is a decent. Like I think it's a decent
I don't.
beer.
I don't think anyone here is arguing
No.
that.
No.
My only issue with it is I think that Budweiser went a little bit higher in their pricing.
Oh, that's what I was just about to say. Is that
Yeah.
it should be priced like a 40.
Like I have a hard time voting for it just because of the fact that like my beer was literally a third or a fourth of the price almost.
Right.
Like that.
Budweiser's trying to pass this off.
No,
as
it's like half the price.
it's like
Well, no, a 40 ounce was $1.70, and then his 22 ounce was like $2.20 a piece.
yeah. So
Oh, yeah,
for
that's right.
222,
So it's even
So like
more
it's
than
around
half.
a third.
Yeah.
it's way super cheap, and actually I think it tastes a little better.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
So it's like
And it probably gets you drunker because
yep.
Budweiser Black probably has a lot of
Well,
water
this is
in
still
it.
6%.
It probably has a lot
they're
of
both
water
about
in
the
it.
same
Yeah.
percent though. It's,
Yeah.
I
That
don't know.
and you're drinking almost twice as much.
Well, the thing is that if you're at a party, and I've noticed this before. Like if I have
Yeah.
bigger bottles, I drink it faster because I'm like it gets warm and nasty. Where if I have
Yeah.
smaller bottles, I'm just like
Yeah.
hanging out. And
I
whatever.
guess the moral of the story is, folks,
Buy
don't
40s.
don't be ashamed like I was to walk up to the counter with a 40. Walk proudly up to the counter
Luke and I
with your
did it.
King
Yeah, we
Cobra
did.
or your Colt 45 and say, "Hey,
Okay, I have a really.
I know I'm partying on a small budget
Yeah.
tonight, and that is what's happening."
Can I be slightly racist right now because
Actually-
it's not me being racist. I'm talking about the guy who sold us this.
Oh, this
Well,
is-
he's talking about the guy who's
It was
He was
hilarious.
racist.
The liquor store
Before you
owner.
say that, I want to say something really quick. You can get Steel Reserve for like $2.40 for a 40 ounce, and it's like 8.1%
Yeah.
alcohol.
Wow.
That'll get you drunk.
Which
Wow.
that is a
That'll get you
yeah.
silly.
That's actually a better deal.
You wanna
My
get
only
silly?
issue with
If you
Steel
wanna get
Reserve is
silly.
or was it Steel Reserve you
Steel
said
Reserve,
or
yeah.
Big Bear?
Steel Reserve.
It's you can definitely taste it though.
That'll get you silly.
I'm not a huge fan of it. It's
Yeah.
a little bit too much for me,
But you
that's
can
beside
get
the point.
you
yeah.
can get
yeah.
buzzed up for
if you're going
$3.
on alcohol per yeah. No, but when we were actually going and buying our beers
Oh,
tonight,
this was bad.
it's me and Nick were at a local store.
Liquor store.
I'm not gonna say their name or anything because it was just nonchalant, whatever.
Yeah.
But and we were up there and like Nick bought his beers because we bought Blue Moon, Agave Nectar Ale, and another Blue Moon.
Valencia Grove Amber.
Yes, because they look good. And whenever I see something green, I'm like, oh sweet, I'm gonna buy that.
Because of Michigan State.
Yeah, and green's my favorite color. Okay.
Yeah.
Because of Michigan State.
No, not really.
Mine's because of Tom Izzo.
Okay, that's great. But anyway, so we had, in one hand, we've got a 6-pack of Blue Moon, and then in another hand, we've got a 40. And the guy's like, man, you guys are really doing different things right here. And Nick's going on, yeah, I know the price and everything. And he's just like, you're not the normal color that comes in and buys this stuff.
Yeah, that was really racist.
It was hilarious.
That
Like,
was absurd.
One of the more racist things I've heard in quite a
That
while.
was absurdly racist for someone.
It was absurd.
For someone to say to a complete stranger.
Yeah. Our listener question of the week comes from Aaron.
Which is actually our listener question of 3 months ago.
Yeah, 3 months from January when she sent it, and I just haven't checked the email in so long. Sorry, Aaron, but tech question for poor people is the subject line.
Oh.
Hi, friends. My regular old MacBook is pushing 5 years of age. I want to replace it soon, obviously, but I was hoping to postpone until I can pay off my college loan, probably within the next 4 months. It's still
Lucky.
running OS 10 10.5.8 Leopard, and things would be way easier for me if I updated like I should have done years ago. But I just discovered that my disk drive is toast. NBD,
Wait,
I
like
never
literal toast?
like out of commission.
Like it's buttery bread.
Like
I will eat
like-
your CD drive.
like something ate it.
it's like a bagel.
Yes.
That came off as kind of wrong.
I will eat your
CD drive.
Okay, so continue.
So-
I just wanted to make fun of Aaron there.
But I just
Yeah, I
discovered
did
that
too.
my disk drive is toast. Parenthesis NBD. I never really used it. But the Snow Leopard update is not available as a download. Which is true. It's disk only. You have to order it on Apple.
Unless you torrent it.
Yeah. Oh, which she gets to. The only illegal downloads I could find were 10.6.8, which I also can't get until I get 10.6.0. So she finds an illegal download of like the latest version of the
I
latest
gotcha.
version there was of Snow Leopard, but she has to get onto 10.6 first. So she says, any advice? So basically, we're trying to help her out. She kind of, in the Mac world, just so everybody knows, if you're not on 10.6, you basically don't exist.
Yeah.
Because 10.6 is still the last like fully real supported
That was
version.
leopard, right?
That was Snow Leopard.
Or Snow Leopard.
Yeah, that Snow Leopard is still the last really fully supported version of OS 10, and unless you have that or something more current than that, you're gonna run into issues. Basically, like for instance, I'm trying to think of an application. I think Chrome, it's either Chrome or Firefox.
Chrome.
It's Chrome. Literally won't run on 10.5. I think
She needs
Firefox
what?
too now.
10 point what?
She needs to just get herself to 10.6, but she is on a shoestring budget.
Oh,
So
so
she-
she is actually looking for a recommendation for a new.
Well, she's like, I think she's kind of saying like, hey, should I look at
Save
even
up.
should I look at even worrying about this now or save up and buy my next computer?
What gen is she on?
She's got she's got one of those white MacBooks.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of those
The old school, back when we graduated.
yeah, back when we that were popular. You know, there used to be the
Yeah.
aluminum ones and
Yep.
the plastic white.
I don't know. The thing is, like with a lot of people, it's hard to justify buying a brand new computer if you're not
Especially
using
a
it
MacBook.
all the time. Like especially a MacBook, because like with those, if I was gonna recommend a MacBook right now, I would recommend the actual MacBook Pro with the Retina display, and not the cheaper one that like has a hard time really
the 13
powering
inch,
the Retina.
The 13 inch.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're gonna get 13 inch, I would recommend not going Retina because it doesn't have the horsepower to push that.
To be honest,
pixel amount.
the thing that I look at most
I would probably
often
go with an
is
Air.
Air. Yeah,
Yeah.
at 13 inch Air, you can get one of those for $1,000.
Yeah.
And for Air's purposes, it's probably going to suit everything that she wants to do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it'll run The Sims, Aaron, and I know you love The Sims. So,
Aaron, I can get you 10.6.3.
Oh, Nick found 10.6.3. So if you're interested in that,
I know
Let me
we're
know.
2 months late, so you may have a new computer already.
no,
But,
I don't think she does.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I can get
I
you
can talk to her.
10.6.3.
either way, like it's my
my
only issue.
I'm not
is-
making any comment on whether that's legal or illegal, but I can get you 10.6.3.
He knows a guy who knows a guy who
Yeah.
knows a guy at Apple
Yeah.
who knows another guy.
Yeah.
Who could
Yeah.
maybe get you 10.6.3.
That's what it is. Yep.
But no, with my biggest thing with Apple is just once you buy a MacBook, it seems like you can stick with it for quite a while. But like Ryan said, the MacBook Air really wouldn't be a bad choice.
I think.
No.
Let me put it this way.
Not at all. That's a great choice.
I was looking at a MacBook Air because literally for work or something, I could bring it in and get it set up to a point where I could run VMs of like Windows Server on it and do stuff.
Honestly,
on that.
actually,
it's like everything I would need, and I don't need a beast laptop anymore now that I have a tower PC.
You have a tower.
I have a really easy solution for Erin if she's actually looking for, if she's looking to hang on to her laptop for a little bit longer. If you can get a hold of 10.6.8, and it's not letting you upgrade, if you can mount that to a bootable USB drive, there is a utility called, you'd have to have 2 USB flash drives at this point. Well, you wouldn't have to, but it's easier. Now, set up a bootable drive for 10.6.8, and then you would have to set up your secondary flash drive for this utility called Derek's Boot and Nuke, DBAN. And if you do a quick Google search for DBAN, it should, let me double check here. Yep, it's the first article, dban.org. It's this little piece of software. It's actually a Linux distribution that you could boot from and wipe your hard drive completely. It would nuke your hard drive to where there was absolutely nothing.
It's all gone.
And then it would format it so you could boot to 10.6.8 without having to upgrade.
Interesting. That seems like a project.
Yeah,
that's like a big project. Yeah, that's the thing though.
It's something that
if you're feeling adventurous, if you're feeling like,
but if you want 10.6.3, let me know.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I consider that question answered.
So do I. Well,
wow.
All right.
Thank you for listening to episode 16 of the TechBuzzed podcast, recorded on St. Paddy's Day. While we drink, why didn't we all just bring Mickey's? Isn't that St. Paddy's?
Yeah. Mickey's is pretty apropos.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Whatever. Forget it. My name's Nick Smock, and you can find me at Nick_Smock.
My name is Ryan Spletzer, and you can find me at Ryan Spletzer on Twitter.
My name's Lucas Ritter, and you can't find me.
Darn.
Yeah.
But if you
it's actually at Depresso is cool, but
but
don't tell
the government.
But who would want to follow that crap?
No, you wouldn't want to follow my crap because it's literally crap. Anyway,
if you want to follow the podcast on Twitter, that's
a good crap to follow.
This is the best crap you could follow.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to follow some good crap, Twitter.com/TechBuzzed. That's the best crap.
We promise we'll tweet more if you follow us.
Yeah, exactly. We need followers to actually.
We currently only tweet our new show updates, basically like when we have a new episode.
And occasionally, I will tweet random things about.
And I just remember I spammed everybody during Windows Phone 8 launch.
So
I remember that. That was kind of fun.
Like we said at the beginning of the episode, TechBuzzed.com. Right now, it's redirecting to where we host our MP3 versions of our episodes.
Eventually.
It will be done by the beginning of April, guaranteed.
Yes.
Guaranteed first 2 weeks of April.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yes.
I will be prodding people with poker sticks, and they will be coding.
Yes. TechBuzzed.com is.
He's going to be like the Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
To us, he's going to be like, hey, what's the? Oh, you're wired in right now. You shouldn't be talking to anybody.
Exactly. So, if anyone could ever get that mental image out of their head, Lucas Ritter is Justin Timberlake.
Yep.
TechBuzzed.com is where that website will soon be hosted. Facebook.com/TechBuzzed is where Nick posts pictures.
MySpace.com/tech.
We were originally called the TechBuzzed, but then he suggested we drop the because it was cleaner.
You know what's better than $1 million from imaginary Samsung? $1 billion from imaginary Samsung.
Yep.
So we are now Galaxy buzzed.
Yes.
Yes.
S4.
I love, by the way, everything I said about the S4 today, completely take back because Samsung is giving us $1 million.
They're throwing money at us because
I love it.
The S4 is literally the best phone ever invented in all of human history.
We haven't said throwing money at X for a while now. So
phone gives you
they're literally
blowjobs.
throwing money at us.
Yep.
Yeah, it gives you blowjobs.
They're making it as we do this podcast. There's money raining down from the ceiling.
Yeah.
On top of us.
Can you hear it?
Just that little pitter patter of ones.
They're just throwing pennies at me.
MySpace.com/TechBuzzed is where Lucas made a MySpace page for us, but it actually doesn't do anything.
No,
because
it doesn't.
We are never going to post on that. But be our friend on MySpace because that used to be cool.
Hey,
Yeah.
if you're our friend on MySpace, I will.
Give you a blowjob.
No.
Oh.
Aw.
TechBuzzPodcast@gmail.com is where our email is. TechBuzzed@gmail.com is where some guy's email is, and he won't give it up.
You should email him and harass him
Yeah,
in every
because-
way possible.
Because I do that all the time.
Yep.
And
We are a family-friendly podcast, by the
he
way.
doesn't respond to us. And then youtube.com/TechBuzzPodcast we created so Jillian Crawford would stop complaining about listening to the MP3s because she wanted
We
to go
love
to
you,
YouTube.
Jillian. I am really happy that you listen. You're my
Let
favorite
me tell
listener.
you, Jillian, once we have our website up, after that is done, the next step is getting us into the iTunes store.
Yes.
And the Zune store. And any
And
wherever
Pocket
better
Cast.
podcasts are aggregated.
Yes, we are going to aggregate the mark this out of everything.
You shouldn't have to say mark this.
Thank you for listening. And thank us for making a podcast for you via
No.
Twitter.com/TechBuzz.
Just thank you for listening.
And thank us for making a podcast for you to listen to.
You don't have to thank us. You just have to listen.
Do it.
What you play?